Okay, we're calling the meeting to order at 7:02.
Trustee Wyman, present. Mayor Howard.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hart. Here. Trustee Smith.
Here.
Trustee Camp. Here. And Trustee Schaefer is absent. And Stahl.
Okay. Do we have approval of the agenda? Do you notice anything needs to be changed on it?
I have no changes. I don't have any changes.
Okay. We'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
So, a second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Okay.
We're moving into public comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to do a little housekeeping before we move into public comment. I think we can all agree the last meeting was not handled very well. So we're going to correct that. On our website, there's always been a statement of meeting protocol and standards of conduct for public participation. And I'm going to read that out loud. And we're going to start following that this meeting and every meeting that follows to the T. Because it won't happen again what happened last meeting. Public comment is encouraged and will be listed as an agenda item at every regular board or trustee meeting. Each individual wishing to be heard during the public comment period will be given up to 3 minutes to make a comment. The public comment period will not be used to make political endorsements or for political campaign purposes. Questions from the board will be for clarification purposes only. Public comment will not be used as a time for problem solving or reacting to comments made, but rather for listening to the comments of citizens without taking a formal action. The board may direct the town administrator to provide information requested by a speaker during the public comment period. Speakers are not allowed to make belligerent, accusatory, impertinent, slanderous, threatening, abusive, or disparaging comments. The mayor/chairman may elect to defer public comment on a specific issue that appears on the regular agenda until that specific item is addressed. The mayor/chairman may call for order when sidebar conversations occur in the audience. Those conversations are distracting from the board and the board addressing the topics at hand. Members of the public who do not follow proper conduct after a warning in a public meeting can be barred from further participation at that meeting and removed from the board chambers pursuant to the Iowa Municipal Code and Colorado Revised Statutes. It's posted now in bright yellow paper at the podium up by the agenda at the front door. So there should be no reason for anybody not to know those standards moving forward.
Okay, public comment. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. When you are recognized, please stand, state your name, and then address the board in a professional manner. The Board of Trustees may not respond to your comments during this meeting. Rather, they may take your comments and suggestions under advisement, and your questions will be directed to the appropriate person or department for follow-up. Okay. Okay, we will now call the public hearing to order.
No public comment?
Huh?
Any public comment on that?
This public hearing.
We have public comment before the public hearing.
Okay. Well,
Just regular public comment.
yeah, public comment.
Sorry about that.
Sure.
Did I do it wrong?
Yes.
Take absolute responsibility for that.
Okay. So yes, we will now call public comment to order.
Okay, the first person on the list is Tammy Schneider from the Elbert County Fair Board.
Hello, my name is Tammy Schneider. For those of you who don't know me, I'm currently serving as president of the Elbert County Fair Board. I am just here tonight to thank you all for your absolute wonderful support of our county fair. It is now passed and we are done cleaning up as of this morning, so that's good news. But the support of the town and of your amazing town administrator made our fair very special. It always does. Letting us put up the banners, hanging things across the street, up by the post office, all of the advertising. But more importantly, I wanted to thank you for bringing fireworks back to our community and to our county fair. I think that made such a wonderful Saturday night kickoff. It was enjoyed by everyone, and that wouldn't have been possible without the town and all of the folks here. So just here tonight to thank you for your support. Thank you for the fireworks, and ask that if there's a way for you to continue that relationship with us, we would love to see fireworks at the 2026 Elbert County Fair.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
We enjoyed the fair. It was great. We will go this again next year.
That would be wonderful. Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yes.
Thank you all so much. Really, just really appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Jay, did you have public comment? Is that why you're raising your hand?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can now. Did you want to be put on the list for public comment?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay, Debbie. Hold on. So Debbie Olam, 228 Comanche Street. First I want to say fireworks were amazing. We had all cars lined up by the campground for it, and everybody around the pool watching. So I don't know where you guys want me to discuss this. There's some confusion about whether or not to do it in the board meeting at public comment or later. I did get my packet that I requested. I went through the packet. I previously, when I had questions about minutes, I emailed everyone and then got no response. So you guys did talk about it at your meeting, but I didn't get a formal response. I just wanted to point out that the minutes for the July 22nd meeting, and before you guys go through it, I know you haven't had a chance to even discuss it, so maybe you already know this. But under individuals present, Bailey Wineland is not even listed, but she does make motions and seconds a couple of times in the minutes. Under number 26, I don't know if it's right or wrong. It just is very confusing. It says that trustee St. Chance seconded the motion, and then it says Chance opposing. So it's really very confusing. 27 just has a typo. These are just some corrections that I would like to see in the permanent record, and I didn't know if anybody had a chance to review them. Okay, Joey, it's good.
Hey guys, so that's Joey Kuhn. Probably after looking over the sunshine information that I received, super confused because back in June, I think a lot of people were here saying, hey, we're really confused why we can't have more advertisement, more banners as such a small town. And everyone in the room agreed, including all of you. And then it came back to the planning commission and they went back and revised it and made it about as bad as it was, maybe a little bit better. A business like Connie's, for instance, can't have more than, if I'm correct, one banner per address.
Joey, I don't interrupt you, but we're gonna do public comment right at when we discuss that ordinance.
So what does that have to do with right now?
Well, that public comment would be applicable to talking about that ordinance, about the sign.
So I can't talk about it right now.
It's more applicable and more fitted to be discussed when we talk about the
Well,
ordinance.
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, because I don't know if I can stay that long because I have other obligations.
Then if you can't stay that long, go ahead and give your public comment now.
Okay, so we're gonna start my 3 minutes over? Or?
I'll
Okay,
give you the
great.
extra
Thank you.
7 seconds.
It wasn't 7 seconds. There's no way. It was 7 seconds. No. So anyhow, you guys, I mean, this is too restrictive. I mean, to say that I can put a banner out for the first, say, January and February, or just the first quarter even, and do 60 days, then I gotta pull it down, and then if I do it again, I gotta respond again and email back saying I'm gonna do it again. And I can only have one. So I can't say there's tanning and say another thing going on in the building. Because it's per address, it's not per business. So it restricts anybody in town that has more than one business in their area, such as Mona's or anybody else. I really think you guys need to really look at it and make the decision whether or not that this is really good for small businesses in our small town. I think it's still too restrictive. I appreciate it, and I really hope that as a town, we can come together and not have the animosity. I've asked Miss Howard to meet with the town people and the town community and the town businesses, and it doesn't seem that that's gonna happen, and I would really hope that you would reconsider that and actually sit down and have a talk with us about our concerns. That's kind of, I feel like that's sort of what a mayor should do. So I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, Annette Burmester.
I will hold my comments
Okay,
because they're sign code related.
okay. Okay, then Jay.
Javier.
Yep, I'm Jay Beer, president of the Lions Club. I would also like the June meeting minutes amended to be a little more correct. The event committee was sent a text message and I sent it to everybody but Mona because I didn't have an email for Mona. The whole Lions Club breakfast, Father's Day breakfast was canceled by Kim Boyd. She retracted later. Then after that, we had already made plans on our own as a board because it was a last minute thing. And then we decided to decline the town. So this originally started from an email or a text message from Kim Boyd and was thumbs up by the mayor. So I would like that amended. That's it.
Is there anybody else in the gallery? Anybody else online? Oops, okay, that's everybody then except Annette who would like to speak after the sign.
Okay, we are done with public comment. We'll now move into public hearing. First on the agenda is a special event liquor permit for Ruckus in the Rockies. Annette Humphrey.
I'm Darlene McGinnis. I'm the president of the Rocky Mountain Jack Russell Terrier Network, putting on the Ruckus in the Rockies for the second year at the fairgrounds. And last year we missed out on getting a liquor license, and we're just here to ask if we can have it this year. I have no idea what else to say, or I've never been to one of these, so I have a bunch of little white dogs that have a great time on fairgrounds, and we try and bring business in, and we, go to the pizza place, and yeah. Good
That
breakfast.
sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it's a great time. Be like little white dogs. They bark a lot.
So, how many participants are you expecting?
Last year we were pretty small. We might be a little bigger this year, but I think 75. Yeah. And probably that many dogs, if not more. They're little white dogs that bark a lot.
Are you guys gonna be doing like wristbands or?
Cause we're not really selling it. I haven't, I was gonna look into having somebody come out and sell, but I really haven't. I have a lot of work to do with this. So it's more people being able to bring a cooler with some beers in them, it's open to the public, but it's private, people that come in and show their dogs and race their dogs and do everything. And they just like to have a cooler if they wanna have a beer, or a glass of wine or something like that. So it's not, I wasn't even sure if this was the right avenue, but this is what I was told to do, so that's why I'm here doing it.
It would be akin to like a wedding.
Yeah,
Would
yeah,
you provide-
exactly, yeah, cause there's nobody actually there selling. If it makes a difference, if somebody did come, cause I was gonna ask EDC if they wanted to come out If they don't, then it will just be whatever people bring of their own. Us as a club do not sell it.
So with that though, how would you be able to tell underage drinkers from people who are?
I mean, it's gonna be up to the adults. I would hope they wouldn't give it to them, you know, cause like I said, it's people bringing it in privately. So. Like you said, it's like a wedding. It would be the same thing as a wedding, I guess would be the closest thing.
Usually a wedding person will have somebody set up to specifically serve or sell alcohol and check IDs. That's all I'm looking for, is are you gonna have somebody specifically doing that to check IDs?
If we were selling it, yes, we would, but at this point, we're not selling it. It's people bringing it in on their own, the participants.
Okay, well, my only concern is checking IDs and making sure we're not serving underage.
Well, I mean, we have a board of our own that would be very, thoughtful of that, obviously, if we saw somebody that was walking around with the beer or something, it would be, and find out where they got it and, but, I mean. That's how we've kind of always done our dog shows, so it's never been an issue, so I guess if it's something we need to make sure we pay attention to, I think we would kind of anyway as adults.
So do you have like a gate check-in or anything, or people just show up, or?
So they pre-enter online for the actual event.
Yeah.
Some of the events they can come in and enter that day, but most of it's done pre-entry. So,
Cause I was gonna say, if there's like a checkpoint as they check in, you could ban the 20 adults, yeah, right. It's just something to think about.
could do that, just so but again, we're not selling it, so it would just be who is old enough. We've checked an ID, you're old enough, you can walk around with the beer, but other than that, you shouldn't, so. Because we do have a check-in table, that's where they come in, they pick up their packet and their number and all that, I guess we kind of know them anyway, they're members of our club. We have all their information, where they live, that kind of, gosh, I don't know if there's a date of birth on there, but we could certainly look into that as well when they check in.
That might be a good idea.
Do you have like a lot of public, outsiders coming to?
Not usually, but people do stop by. I mean, they're curious. They hear all the barking and they want to just come watch, and watching them race is a hoot, so people stop by, but like when we have what we call fun days, like once a month, we do them in Golden, and people just drive by and they're like, stop and, just come in and say hello. So that's really about it. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a big public thing, but I try and tell everyone I know, because I live in Elizabeth, and I try and tell everybody I know and people I work with at Jill's or Big R, I say, we're having this, come on by and watch. So I guess if they brought their own beer, it would be the same thing, but most people wouldn't do that so much if they just walked in.
So the big deal, like with weddings or other events that we approved, is they're actually serving.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's only, I'm just, yeah. Yeah, and if, like I said, if I actually got EBC to come out, they would be obviously checking IDs, that's what they would do any other place.
Yeah.
So,
So I guess this is where I'd be, and it's a catch, cause if you do have your Elizabeth Brewing Company come, then technically you can have other alcohol come on the grounds. People.
well, and that answers that question, 'cause it's one less thing I have to do.
There you go.
Yeah.
And by having them come, then through the insurance part and everything else, you're covered under the liquor license.
Yeah,
So, and they would be the ones.
so if that's actually the case, then I probably wouldn't need, I haven't called, I know it's so late now.
They probably
anyway.
do the wristbands and IDs,
Right,
so.
okay.
I have a question, Kim.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can answer this.
If it's liquor related, it'll probably be Sasha.
Sasha, okay?
I'll try.
Say we have a bunch of folks over at the fairgrounds that go there and camp.
Yep.
We're not controlling what kind of liquor, anything else that they do.
No, correct.
So if they are not selling it or serving it, and it's private people that are bringing it in, is a liquor license still required?
If they are not selling or serving themselves, then probably not. If they're only bringing it in, like if a family's bringing it in their cooler.
Well, they told us last year that we could not have any alcohol on those grounds. That's why I did this year.
Yeah,
They
it
told
could
me last
possibly
year.
be a
It could be,
rule of
it could be,
county.
yeah, it
Okay.
could be for the fairgrounds, yes. That could
Okay,
be one of
that
the,
would make sense then. Yeah,
That's, yeah.
but you're
that's-
right. I mean, if someone's just camping there,
right,
but I don't know what their campground rules are.
yeah,
And the caveat there on the campground is the campground is no different than renting a hotel room.
True, yes, they are paying to rent
In a
the
sense, so,
space.
you know, I think under the circumstances, we got a couple other steps before I make the motion, but I don't foresee an issue why we couldn't approve this.
no, I don't have an issue with approving it, I was just curious, but I didn't think that, yes, the fairgrounds
They
could
probably
very
have
well
rules.
require.
Yes.
Oh,
to do
believe
that.
me, we've gone around and around
Yeah.
all of our times, and you know, so I'm just trying to do the right thing here.
Sure.
Make sure that, we're staying within where we should be, because we love being there. It's only our second year, and we had such a great time last year, so.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions for her? I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay.
Any public comment? Any public
Oh.
comment?
Is there any public comment on this? Okay. So we have a motion and a second,
Who's the second?
Oh,
Trevor. Is there any other discussion amongst the board members on it? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? Okay.
So if you may. So if you want to head out the door and to the right, I will make sure that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fine.
Okay. Revocation of emergency ordinance 4, series 2025.
So ordinances are laws. When they're put in place, you put a law in place. In order to remove a law, you have to remove it by ordinance. This ordinance is effectively removing ordinance 4. Series 2025. And making it official.
Is there any discussion from the board on this?
No.
Is there any public comment regarding it? I'll entertain a motion.
so moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next item on the agenda is a franchise agreement renewal with Core Electric. And is Robert here too?
He is.
Okay,
Mr. Osborne is here. He has a presentation.
okay, very good.
Dial that up for you real quick.
Thanks.
You're welcome. It's fine, but it's fine.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and trustees. It's a pleasure to be here again. We've been here a few, the past few years, so it's nice to see you again. My name is Rob Osborne. I'm a business development director for Electric Cooperative. We're your electric company, and you guys are our owners. We're a cooperative. My colleague, Angie Bedoya, is here too. She is your business development and local government relations leader for Florida. She works very closely with you and your team here to help with matters associated with work. So tonight you're considering a franchise renewal with us. But I want to give you a little background about Core if you don't know. Other than getting a bill 12 times a year, you might want to know a little bit more about your cooperative. We were established in 1938. It was an interesting group of folks that established up in Bailey, Colorado. About half the original board members were women. We've grown quite a bit in the past 85, 86 years. We went from 15 miles of service line and 23 members to 185,000 members, serving over 5,000 square feet through the Colorado Eastern Plains and all the way up over the mountains. Next one, please. As I mentioned, we're a cooperative, so we're member owned, and you as cooperative members, you are owners. So I theoretically do work directly for you, as does everyone else at Core. We're independent from federal and state oversight on many regulatory matters. So Core does have to adhere to some standards at the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, as well as the PUC, the Public Utilities Commission in Colorado, related to our service area. But our rates, our policies, our standards, and our operations is all locally governed by our board of directors. Our governance structure is we have 7 districts and our board members are elected. So just this past April, we had our annual meeting. Your board member that served, Ruff Shea, was, he did not renew or run for office. And a new board member was elected to represent your district, and that's Stacy Stegman. If you don't know Stacy, she's an executive with Denver International Airport, and she's been on the board now for 4 or 5 months, and she's really trying to get involved. So if you ever want to meet her, please let us know, and we can try to get her out here to introduce yourselves or meet with you guys or the community.
Can I interrupt you a second? Do you see Stacy very often?
At least once a month.
Will you tell her Terry Howard from the MOST program says hi?
I will do
She
that.
used to be involved in CDOT and we
Oh, yeah.
worked pretty close with her.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Thank you. I'm sorry.
No, it's your meeting. I'm pleased to serve. So as I've outlined here, this is the actual board members, and other than Stacy, Jim Annis is over in Parker, Tim White is down in the Castle Rock region. He is actually our board president. Bob Graff is up in District 6, that's kind of the Bennett area. Mike Kempy's up in the mountains, Ron Kilgore's up in the mountains, and Mike Sperry's up in the mountains. Thank you. Our executive team, over the past few years, we've had some changes there. I think in the past, many of you met our former CEO, Jeff Bodier. Jeff did leave Core mid to late last summer, moved back to Louisiana to be with some family. Both his father-in-law and father passed, unfortunately, so he and his wife went home to be with family. But Pam Fierstein has been with Core for over 20 years. She was our COO, so she oversaw all operations and construction and engineering. So the board permitted and hired her as our new CEO. Moving and shaken, but our new Chief Financial Officer is Lori Burkhardt. Lori's worked for Excel Energy in the past and most recently with United Power. Kathleen Solano is our administrative officer. She comes from Colorado Springs Utilities as an officer there. Mark Jurgemeyer, he's our chief operating officer, and he was director of operations for 20 years here at Core as well. My boss is Mandy, so if you ever see her, make sure you say good things about me and Angie. But Mandy's been with the company for 17 years and she oversees all of our member engagement. So everything we do in the community, everything we have to do with our call center, everything we have to do with our member activities runs through Mandy's team. Next slide. We've added a chief general counsel, Ann Sherwood. She formerly worked with Excel Energy. She joined us a few months ago. And we just hired a chief executive auditing executive. And Wade was in our Office of Finance. He's now an independent party in the organization to assure that we are following good administrative practices, good accounting practices, good policy practices. It's almost like having an internal officer to assure that we are doing what's required by our members and by policies and regulation. So a little bit about our organization, how we're structured. This slide represents essentially our goals and our strategy that the board has adopted. And it's in 9 areas. The top is really about our business. Over the next 5 years, you're going to see a major transformation if you haven't already witnessed it in the energy industry here in Colorado. State law passed over the past 6-7 years. It's requiring every utility to get to an 80% carbon-free energy source by 2030. So with that, we'll be adding a lot of resources, a lot of infrastructure. to bring in wind energy, solar energy, and also store the energy, because a lot of the wind is generated at night. So we have to store it in batteries for the resiliency for the use during the day. So throughout our service area, you'll see some projects that we may be coming to the county with, maybe coming to your town in the future. Don't know as of yet everything, but it may require some substation developments and things like that. So we have the resource to push the energy both on the transmission system and as well as on the distribution system. And that's the stuff that serves your businesses and homes. For organizational leadership, really our goals are maintaining a solid financial ability to do what we do. So much like you have here at the town, you want to have a good revenue stream, as well as have the ability of good credit rating, so that when you need to build billions of dollars of infrastructure over the next 5 years, we can go ahead and do it and keep rates somewhat competitive in doing so. And then there's also an organizational component. Our leadership over the past 10 years has made a commitment to make sure they hire what they believe is the best and the brightest. And it's amazing to work for an organization, come to an organization I've been in 3 years, and just meet some people that are just blowing my mind. I previously worked in other utilities, and it's just a faster pace, and there's a lot of demand that are put on our team. So our leadership wants us to have the right people to do the jobs for you. So our service area, and you're part of it, slide please. It's pretty vast, 5,000 square miles. We have about 6,500 miles of overhead. So that's when we talk, distribution poles is the phrase we use. Those are the short telephone poles that you probably call them. And then we have the tall poles, which are called transmission lines. We have about 312 miles of transmission. Most of our transmission lines, those are the big towers, that's to serve our constituents, our members within our service area. We rely on Xcel Energy as well as Tri-State, which owns a considerable amount of transmission network throughout the state of Colorado, thousands of miles. So we pretty much tap into them, bring it into our service area and substation, and then deliver it out to our members. You may hear about projects from those entities, Xcel and Tri-State, about broader transmission lines. I'm not speaking for them, but I can tell you for the state of Colorado, those are really important, because back to the state law, trying to get that renewable energy to the places where we need the energy is going to require basically new highways, new lines for folks. It's a challenge for them. We are watching how they go through it because we will be reliant on that. So their time of the essence is also time of the essence, not just for us, but many utilities in the state of Colorado. This one, please. So total services by county, I'm using Elbert County here. So Elbert County represents a little bit under 6% of our total membership. So it's not a large amount of members here, but it is important to us. Our largest membership areas are actually in Douglas County by proportion. We have about 55–56% just in Douglas County. We're seeing more growth in Elbert County, as you're probably aware, in the unincorporated areas. And so we'll see that number, we believe, tick up over the next 5 to 7 years. Did you have a question, sir?
Yeah, question. So going off of that, what's your renewable projects in Douglas County?
Good question. So in Douglas County, we do have a small solar array that we're considering. It's in design, which would be proposed at the Cherokee Ranch as a partnership with them to use their land and study what we call agrovoltaics. That particular project will allow them to study the ranching aspects, as well as how the solar impacts or helps ranching activities. Most of our projects in Douglas County that we're looking at are going to be peak generation from gas resources, as well as battery storage in the future. So those are the particular projects we have lined up for Douglas County.
Interesting. And again, Elbert County counts for how much again?
Just under 6%.
5.76%.
And so because of that, we get the 100 acre solar farm.
Well, it's also because two things. One, typically you need a lot of land to build a solar array that's going to have any substance or consequence. It takes about 9 acres of land to generate 1 megawatt of solar. 1 megawatt produces enough energy, and this is a round number, for about 300 to 400 homes of service. So you don't get a lot of density from solar. So you need a lot of land area. The other reasons why it's better to do it in some of the areas of the plains is because the consistency of the sun over that. When you get into areas like Douglas County or up in the mountains, Jeffco and Park counties and Teller counties, you've got grades and the solar wouldn't work so much for a full day, it would only work during certain types of day where it's sitting on grade. So it's a combination of geography as well as the vast amount of land you need. So a franchise. So we currently have 12 franchises that we serve, and these are all the communities. You're listed on top, and the current franchise actually expires in 2026. So I want to again thank Kim and your town attorney. We talked earlier last year and we thought, let's look at the franchise and maybe bring it forward earlier so we're not waiting for the last minute. I appreciate the commitment that the town staff has given to us. But the franchise agreement is really a public right-of-way use permit. It doesn't stop CORE or our utility from serving our members. Our service area is regulated by the Public Utilities Commission. So we have an obligation that anywhere within that map I showed you that to serve. So much like you have an obligation to do the things that you do in your town, we have to do the things for our members within our service area. That is our obligation. But what it does provide you is an opportunity to receive 3% of a franchise fee, which is within the gross sales of each annual year. So 3% of our gross sales is remitted to the town on a monthly basis as a benefit for us having the ability to use and collaborate the public right of way. If not, we didn't have that opportunity, we would have to seek private easements to install of our equipment, which would be really difficult when you look at how current homesteads are set up, how businesses are set up. So the public right of way is really one of the better places for us to put our equipment. It also allows us to coordinate with the town on their projects, your project, should I say, from time to time. So we're proposing a 20-year term. You currently have a 25-year term. 20 years become more of a standard in Colorado. I previously worked at Excel Energy. I negotiated 127 franchise there. They were all 20 years. By statute, you can go to 25, but it seems like 20 years seems to be the standards. It provides the ability for the town and CORE to coordinate and the use of the right of way and how we work together. So for instance, if there's projects that you're working on that are public projects that require us to relocate our equipment, we have an obligation to relocate that in the public right of way at our cost. So you don't have to pay for that. So if you're doing a street widening or if it's a park project where we have stuff there that's encumbering your plans, it provides you that option as well. Interesting in our franchise, there's an administrative audit process. So we did it with Kim and the town attorney a few months back just to validate that the funds that we were collecting and remitting matched yearbooks and such. If we could not come to an agreement on that, there's a process within the franchise that allows us to go ahead and further commit to an auditing protocol should it be necessary. And as I mentioned, it really allows us to continue the collaboration that we have with the town on managing your right of way. That's the most important thing, I think, for all of us is knowing that in the middle of the night, God forbid, there's a outage or something, we can come out there and fix it. You have permits, you have requirements, but those are things typically we can get after the fact in those emergency matters. Or if we have to come with a proactive project, we have a process where we fulfill all the obligations of your permitting. And we are committed to that so that we can, close the street, put the right cones up, do the water protection, the runoff. But it's a friendly relationship versus an enterprise that may not be from, your community, because we're here every day. We're serving you and your constituents every day. We also have some information about our commitment to your community. You can come up and present on that if you don't mind, and some handouts. And then we'll take any questions or comments. Okay. Yes.
I don't know. Good evening. Thank you so much for having us here. You have received, what?
Don't be passing on.
Oh, yeah, and my cards are in here. If you just want to give them to Kim, too, they can do that. You have received communications from me previously. Regarding our outlet, we have a monthly newsletter that we send out to all of our members, so you probably get those personally, but I wanted to be sure to send those to you. In addition to some additional information that I plan to do on a quarterly basis, so with a lot of the legislation, our goal is to make sure to keep our prices competitive. So we're doing everything that we possibly can to ensure that we're bringing value to our members, which are your constituents. In that file or on that flyer that you just received, that's CORE's commitment to Kiowa. Rob mentioned the franchise franchise fees and the sales tax. You'll see that on the back page. So that was 2024's numbers. And those are dollars that came directly back to the town. I have had the pleasure of working with Kim. She is outstanding. I just have to say, we've been able to get a lot of things done, including polls, in kind placed throughout in Kiowa and donated back to the town so that you can use those for Albert County Fair banners or even negotiating banner placements on some of our polls with our internal operations staff. They were like, nope, we can't do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, so that's kind of my job, is to be the advocate for you all. And also obviously the advocate for CORE. So it's my honor to serve you all. And as Rob mentioned, I work for you. So please don't hesitate to reach out, give me a call. You can call, text. If there's an outage, let me know. If you know of an outage, if it's, Kim knows this. You can always let Kim know if there's like a street light that's out. I hear from town administration all the time about, hey, the street light's out in front of wherever. And so we do our, and like every 6 years, we do review our infrastructure. So we're constantly on top of, just so you're aware, we're constantly on top of and proactive in our approach to maintaining and upgrading our infrastructure in your community. So any questions? I kind of went all over the place because I'm trying to save you time, but
something they did recently that you all may not be aware of, and they got it corrected very quickly. I became aware that for whatever reason, the museum was being charged for the light pole out in front of their museum and had been for quite a while. And I was not aware of this. And only after they had been charged for it for a number of years did they come to me and question why they're paying for a light pole that is in the town while we're paying for the rest of them. So I posed the question to Angie. She did a quick research project and we don't know why it got switched over to them, but they fully refunded the museum all the money they had been paying all those years for that. And got it switched over to us where it should have been in the first place. So it was a huge benefit to the museum.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I have to say, they're very good about alerting us, like when they're
Mhm.
coming, and they have to change out any of their hardware and stuff for their trimming trees. They've been really good about calling ahead
Yeah.
with plenty of notice, so.
On the two poles on the east end of town that you set up for us to hang banners on, we might need to look at a guide wire for both of those. Cause right before fair, we had like a microburst come through and pulled on them pretty hard. And so, Brandon, when they got the banner sagged and they got it tightened back up, but it started to pull the poles in. Just,
Yep.
I don't know if anybody,
I will tell you.
I
so-
just thought of it, so.
Sure, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. So
Sure.
you all own those poles. now.
Yes, we own
So
them
we went ahead and installed them in kind,
now.
so that you all could put up the banners and, do whatever advertising you needed, so.
But we will get that corrected.
We can do that.
Yes,
And I'm happy to help navigate internally, like if we have any recommendations.
on how
or-
that could get,
Need a guy wire
needs to be done.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Have a guy who's a guy wire.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, but we'll get on that. Now that the banners are down, we'll get that addressed because that was an issue.
Yeah.
This year, so
Perfect,
thank you, Beth.
absolutely.
Well, with that, we respectfully request your consideration and approval of the franchise. If you have any questions at any time, you can honestly go through Kim at any time to get to us, but you have her contact information, feel free. And if there's any organizations in the community that are doing things that we need to know about that help your community, please let us know about that. We have a board donations process.
And they were one of our corporate sponsors this year for the fireworks.
Yes.
So they do give back to our community regularly.
But we can work with the community organizations, get them set up to make an application and have Stacy review that. Every board member gets to really evaluate each application and has a little bit of money that they get to sprinkle around to help community programming. And then lastly, I'll just say, it's a relationship with the town that makes our job fun. Because we get to see what's happening every town. We get out here more often than you probably see us at these settings. But we appreciate that. And so it's part of our fabric as a company, as a cooperative, we are part of the town. So our goal is not just serving electric, but it's helping with the prosperity of town. So from an economic development prospect, that's really what I do. If there's any opportunities that we can help in that respect, we're here to help you. Yes.
What other, places in town, let's say, do, sponsor, like, donate to schools or parks or?
Yes, so it's real straightforward. So it's 501(c)(3) nonprofits, municipal, be it town or county organizations, is what comes out of the board. State organized, there's a state affairs group that deals most of its state organized groups. But yeah, it's anything, and we have relatively 5 pillars of pillars, so it's educational services, so not really public education, but there's accessory services, youth sports, and they call it well-being, environmental stewardship, and then economic hardship. We recognize that our service area is pretty diverse economically, so there's programs, and I'll just use an example in Douglas County. Health and Hope is one of the programs. I think there's one out here in the food banks. I think it's in Elizabeth, that we support that group to help the region, but it's a pretty good mix of activities.
So I'll tell you, it does state on there that we have donated a total of about, I think it's $3,500 to 5 our organizations here directly in Iowa. So that does include like your historical society. So they put in requests through our donation portal that Rob just mentioned. But I'm happy to get you the list of organizations that we've supported, including not only just Kiowa, but your sister town Elizabeth and also Albert County. Which is those that are noted on there. I just want to reiterate, that is just the organizations in Iowa that we've donated to. So it doesn't include Albert County, Elizabeth, like your surrounding area. Yeah.
That you all were supporter and have been for 3 or 4 years now, the fair. Thank you.
Our pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
And do we need to read this ordinance?
I would read it by title. It's a very long ordinance.
Yeah. This whole paragraph is the time, well, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ordinance number 6, series 2025. An ordinance granting a franchise by the town of Kiowa, Albert County, Colorado to the Core Electric Cooperative, previously known as Intermountain Rural Electric Association, IREA, its successors and assigns to construct, purchase, acquire, locate, maintain, operate, and extend into, within, and through said town. Plants, works, systems, and facilities for the generation, transmission, and distribution of electrical energy, by means of conduits, wires, cables, poles, and structures, or otherwise on, over, under, along, and across all public and dedicated streets, alleys, viaducts, bridges, roads, lanes, public ways, and other public places in said town of Kiowa, to sell, furnish, and distribute said products to the town and the inhabitants thereof.
So we need to make a motion on ordinance 6.
Yeah, you guys have any other questions on that? Okay,
I'd make a motion to approve ordinance 6, series 2025.
okay,
Second.
okay.
Public comment.
Is there any public comment on this? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank you. Finally got it done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
okay. Ordinance tax increase. We discussed this, I believe, last meeting or meeting before last, about having to put any tax increases on the ballot. And that's basically what the next 3 or 4, is it? No, 3.
There's three.
3 ordinances are going to be referring to. Ordinance number 7, series 2025, Town of Kiowa, Colorado. An ordinance of the Town of Kiowa, Colorado, referring a ballot measure to the registered electors of the Town of Kiowa at the November 4, 2025 election regarding implementing a lodging tax of 1% to fund town infrastructure improvements. Have any comments from the board on this?
I would like to ask a question. Since we don't allow lodging, what is this going to imply to people that are going to be voting for it on the ballot? Aren't they gonna ask?
How do we
us to-
not allow lodging?
What?
How do we not allow lodging?
I did not think we did.
We do allow lodging. The fact that we don't have lodging at this time is the only.
Oh, okay, maybe that's new to me. I
No.
did not know we.
So we initially
Changed that.
approached this last year when Ms. Coons had got approval to put in a boutique hotel in the old bank. And she subsequently found out after that it was gonna be very costly to put a fire suppression system in there in order to create that boutique hotel. So the plan was put by the wayside. We put this to the ballot then in anticipation of that lodging going in there. We may not have lodging right now, but at some point in the future, we may, if somebody comes back to the table and has a suggestion or a proposed project in that manner. It's proactive to put it in place now. It's not being taxed on anything because there's no lodging to tax. But we're not putting ordinances in necessarily to speak to what's happening right now. We're looking ahead into the future in anticipation. So we know there's an interest in doing it. Joey showed us that, and if at some point in the future that's accomplished, then it's already in place. 1% is a fairly small amount to start out with. I think, people who have spent a lot of time traveling and staying in hotels or Airbnbs, you can pay upwards of 17 to 30% lodging tax, depending on where you're staying. 1% is fairly small at this point.
I was just thinking it might be confusing to the voter when they go to vote. They're gonna not know that it is allowed because I didn't know it was allowed. But, okay,
Anyone who votes should definitely do their research before they vote, so.
Right, right. And so we had a discussion at the last meeting concerning that exact question right there. And we agreed that, and it really was at your prompting, why don't we ask the voters if we need the money to do the
yeah, I
repairs on
just
the
didn't realize it
infrastructure?
was for lodging.
Right. We need to do,
We can do.
yeah,
work
we
on
need to
some
do some
education.
better communication with our communities, educating them on all of these matters before it goes to ballot.
And the thing the voters need to understand, what was brought to me last year was, I voted no because I'm not gonna pay a lodging tax. And
think
my
it's attached to
response to
property.
them,
Yeah, they thought it was attached to their property
Right.
taxes.
my response to them was, the lodging tax is only if we had a motel, a hotel, bed and breakfast here, and you go stay in there, that's the only way you as a citizen of this town are paying that lodging tax. Oh, I didn't understand that. So there was confusion last time it was on the ballot.
And there's lessons learned by us
Yes,
that we need to do better communication. with
Yeah.
Our residents. And
so yeah, as Kim said, this is just putting it in place for the future. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any questions from the board members anymore?
Motion to approve ordinance 7.
We need to have public comment. Do we have any public comment on this ordinance? Okay, now Trevor,
Motion to approve ordinance 7.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Second one. Ordinance number 8, series 2025, Town of Kiowa, Colorado. An ordinance of the Town of Kiowa, Colorado, referring a ballot measure to the registered electors of the Town of Kiowa at the November 24, 2025 election regarding increasing sales tax from 1.5% to 2.5% within to a fund other infrastructures.
So what we've done differently on this year's ordinance, last year, it listed 50% toward roads, streets, rights way, stuff.
I would just like to comment, do you think 2.5% is too high to ask the voters?
Kiowa's very, very far behind the municipalities around us.
I mean, I would love
Yeah,
for it to pass.
It's very low, and I don't think, while like I said, it probably won't bring in a whole lot, but starting a fund that is building the revenue to start doing some of these improvements and the maintenance on them is a starting place. And I don't, the sales tax and the use tax does directly affect those coming into Kiowa. Either they're eating at the restaurants or they're spending retail money here. So the sales tax, affects them. Use tax is anybody coming in that's trying to build, they're getting building permits for re-roof or re-siding or any kind of, what do you call it, Sasha? Repairs, any
Repairs.
repairs right now.
Yeah, right now we have a
Or when
lot.
we're limited on,
Yeah. Over years.
subdivision development, but people are paying use tax on every single building permit that they obtain. So we're being able to keep that relatively.
I just didn't want to scare the voters off.
Well, and we gotta look at, we're at 1.5 now. We're gonna go to 2.5 if they
So that
approve it,
1%.
so it's only 1%.
Yeah,
I don't think people are gonna fuss too much about that.
1% of 200,000 is a very low number.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Any other questions on it? Any public comment? Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve this.
Seconded.
who's the first?
I
Okay.
was gonna say, I'll approve a motion, or I make a
Your
motion.
motion, okay.
So,
Tammy
Make a
and
motion to approve ordinance 8, series 2025.
okay.
and Connie seconded. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now, the next one, Kim just was really discussing it. I'll read it by title. This is referring to the use tax. Ordinance 9, Series 2025, Town of Kiowa, Colorado. An ordinance of the Town of Kiowa, Colorado, referring a ballot measure to the registered electors of the Town of Kiowa at the November 4, 2025 election regarding increasing the local use tax 1.5% to 2.5%, with up to 50% for construction and maintenance of roads, streets, right-of-ways, and 50% to a capital improvement fund for all other town infrastructure improvements. Board have any questions on those?
I have a discussion. That could actually be higher, do you think, because it's for people that are, it's not for like. People that just live in a house, it's.
It
for-
would be. It
What's
would
that?
be. So when you get your re-roof permit, when we had that storm.
Right, yeah.
You're paying, part of what you're paying on your building permit is use tax.
I
Which is the
understand
material.
that, but. I understand, yeah, with the
Okay.
hailstorm and all,
Yes, ma'am.
but that might be able to go a little bit higher or get voted on easier. Because it's more for, people that are doing.
Building material.
construction, which is
Mhm.
not everyone.
This is true.
Because like,
But that's a discussion with your board and you guys choose to do that.
does anyone have any other discussion on that? Do you have,
I think that I agree with you.
maybe go to 3% or?
Yeah. I think that'd be a 1.5 increase.
See, and I think that if we're putting three things on the ballot, and it's probably a little more likely to pass when they see a 1% increase,
That's probably.
agreed.
I agree with you on that.
Okay. I'm just trying to.
Understand.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be
I do
great if we
understand.
could, but
Yes.
yeah,
Right.
when we're presenting 3 on there. Everybody's gonna go, oh, this is 3% total, we're gonna be paying on all this. But yes, Kim is correct, we need to educate folks on some of this stuff.
I think we go a little at a time.
Okay, yeah.
Instead of, hey, let's increase this and the voters are gonna say, oh, tax increase, no.
Yeah, 1% seems a lot less than doubling it.
Yes.
1.523.
Yeah. Any further discussion? Is there any public comment regarding it? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Opposed? Okay. Okay. Next ordinance is amending the town charter. Ordinance 10, series 2025, an ordinance approving ballot question to the electors of the town of Kiowa to amend the town charter, Article 3, Section 3.07. Compensation for board members for the town of Kiowa, Colorado. For those of you that are not aware, in the charter, it has that there is compensation for the board members. Several years back, they decided, no, we're not gonna do that. And board members didn't get paid. Well, that's illegal. We can't make that decision on our own. That had to go back to the voters to do so. So we implemented getting paid again. The beginning of this year. Trevor had brought up about doing away with the compensation. If we make this change to it, it will give us leeway in the future to say, okay, the rest of this year, we don't want to get paid. And then come January of next year, we're getting some good money coming in. We could say, hey, let's implement the board getting paid again. We wouldn't have to go back to the voters. Does that make sense? Any questions on that?
No.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's right there in front of me. Is there any public comment on this? Okay. Let's do it again. Everybody in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Now, the next one.
I would ask for a delay for a few seconds. I have our code enforcement person.
Oh, we can do
And
that.
he seems to have found her way to a personal meeting room.
Okay.
I was just trying to connect it to text or something. I keep getting a message saying our connection is unstable. Easier for her to like just call in my phone or something. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. Better. Okay. This one's stable. She's a.
We have her now?
We have.
Okay. Okay, if there's no further questions or discussion, we're concluding the public hearing on those,
No, we're.
oh, I'm sorry.
We have one more.
Yes, we've got one more. I skipped down here. I shouldn't look at something else. Okay, F, ordinance amending municipal sign code. A lot of you that are here were here when we had the work session with the planning commission. And that's how we formed the ordinance. Ordinance number 11, series 2025, an ordinance of the town of Kiowa, County, amending the town of Kiowa zoning code, chapter 16.
Okay, the chairperson of the planning commission wrote a memo explaining their recommendations for revision to the Iowa Municipal Temporary Sign Code. Would you like me to read it into record?
Yeah, let's do that, please.
Background is the planning commission has spending considerable time through 4 separate meetings, including a workshop request to revise certain aspects of the town municipal code, chapter 16. More specifically, as it relates to temporary signs. And it's number 1, identified concern, temporary sign regulations that are easier to administer and enforce, while also allowing for the reasonable and equitable use of such signage for residents and businesses alike. B, need for better defined terms of meaning under the sign code. C, need for clarity and eligibility for permits, allowable specifications, maintenance and safety. The commission recognizes the importance of promoting local businesses while maintaining an orderly and attractive environment for residents and visitors, which is why the recommendations made by this commission were made following these general principles. Number 1, health, safety, and welfare. The primary goal of these regulations is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public by ensuring the signs are safely constructed, located, and maintained to prevent hazards and nuisances. Traffic visibility. All signs must be designed and located traffic control devices. Signs should not pose a danger to motorists, pedestrians, or cyclists by impairing visibility at intersections or crosswalks. Aesthetics and property values. Signage regulations seek to avoid visual clutter and maintain the rural charm and aesthetic quality of the community. Well-designed, attractive signs contribute to the property values and appeal of the surrounding area. Permanent signs. Most signs must be permanently affixed to the ground, building, or other structure. Temporary signs are permitted only under specific conditions and are subject to strict time and size limitations to prevent them from becoming permanent fixtures. Prohibited signs. Certain types of signs are prohibited due to their potential to create distractions or diminish the aesthetic quality of the town. Flashing, rotating, animated signs, searchlights, or other attention-grabbing features are expressly prohibited in the town of Iowa, particularly in rural areas where such signs would detract from the natural and scenic environment. Definitions. Permanent sign is defined as any sign affixed to a structure and used for the purpose of identifying or advertising a business, profession, or other establishment, which is intended to be displayed indefinitely. A temporary sign is defined as any sign used for the purpose of identifying or advertising a business, profession, or other establishment, which is displayed for a limited duration and is not intended to be permanent. Signs that include but are not limited to portable pennants, feather banners, sock signs, banners, and sandwich boards. Establishment is defined as a business, profession, or any other activity operating within the geographic boundaries of Iowa. A building sign is defined as a permanent sign affixed or attached to a building or structure. Temporary sign permit is defined as a written authorization issued by the town for the placement of a temporary sign. Temporary business signs. Eligibility for a temporary sign. A, temporary signs may only be placed by licensed businesses located within the town of Iowa. B, temporary signs may only be placed by businesses operating temporarily, such as contractors within the town of Iowa who have obtained an approved business license and permit. As such, contractors can only place the signs where they are conducting business/work. C, businesses operating outside of the town limits of Iowa are prohibited from placing temporary signs within the town. Permanent number and duration. A business may display 1 temporary sign per calendar quarter. B, the sign may remain on the property for a maximum of 60 consecutive days within the calendar quarter. Size and location restrictions. A, temporary signs shall not exceed 8 feet in height. B, the total area of a temporary sign shall not exceed 32 square feet. C, temporary signs must not obstruct pedestrian walkways, sidewalks, or roadways. D, temporary signs must not interfere with vehicle traffic visibility or cause hazards to public safety. E, temporary signs must be displayed only on the private property of the business and not extend beyond the boundaries of that property. Maintenance and safety. A, all temporary signs must be maintained in good condition, free from rips, tears, or other physical damage, and securely fastened. B, temporary signs must not cause noise or movement that may be disruptive to the surrounding area. C, the business owner shall be responsible for the removal of any temporary sign upon the expiration of the permitted time frame or the end of the 60-day period. Permit requirement. A, an annual temporary sign shall be required for the placement of temporary business signs. B, only one temporary sign permit may be issued per business establishment per calendar year. C, the permit will grant one temporary sign per calendar quarter. D, the permit will grant one temporary sign per property. E, the owner must notify the town by email when each temporary sign will be displayed. F, there shall be an administrative fee of $25 for an annual temporary sign permit. Prohibited signs. Flashing, rotator, animated signs. These are signs that are designed to flash, rotate, or display animations, including electric message boards or signs with moving parts are prohibited. Attention grabbing signs and devices, searchlights and inflatable signs and any other type of temporary feature intended solely to attract attention are prohibited. Signs that obstruct visibility is any sign that obstructs visibility of traffic or pedestrians, creates confusion with traffic control devices, or presents a safety hazard is prohibited. Signs outside the geographic boundaries of Kiowa. No temporary business signs are permitted from businesses that do not operate within the geographic boundaries of Kiowa, except where a temporary permit has been granted. E, enforcement. Inspection. The town of Kiowa reserves the right to inspect any sign to ensure compliance with the provisions of the ordinances. Violation and penalties. Any business owner found in violation of this ordinance shall be subject to the removal of the sign and potential revocation of the sign permit. Notice of violation. A written notice will be provided to the business owner and provide a period of 5 calendar days to correct the issue. After this period, the sign may be removed at the business owner's expense if it remains unremedied. Ms. Ellis was part of these conversations with the planning commission. Would you like her to speak to these recommendations made by them? Don't know how you want to handle this.
Does the board have any questions or concerns?
Okay, we'll start with, where you want to start? Bailey?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Susie, can you hear us? So, hold on, let me make sure she's here and hearing us. Susie, can you hear us? You can hear us, but we can't hear her. So, but go ahead.
We may just have to kick her out and have her call in.
Yeah, this is not.
So as we work through this while we're waiting. Question there. There's some, I mean, as it's written right now. I'll just say, it, I'm not gonna support it. So we can either kick it back to them. Which I think is pointless, cause we went through a workshop, I thought we were over here at the workshop, and we're all here with what's presented in front of us.
Okay.
Or we worked through and we edited, we begin to edit it here tonight. But it's. I mean, when we finished the workshop, I thought we had it kind of nailed down. I thought we were at a point where we were, as a board, happy with it, and where the business owners were happy with it. And I don't wanna, if, it's not to be personal to anybody that put in a lot of work over 4 meetings, but it needs, we either need to fix it or, but right now it's not gonna fly.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree, although I would say that there are some things on there, like I think the $25 fee is appropriate for the year, but. I think that might be it, from my personal opinion.
So you agree with other businesses that don't do business in Kiowa, coming into Kiowa and putting their signs all over Kiowa?
No, so that's a lie, I don't agree with, that I do agree with. I think my biggest issue that stands is the one permit and then the 60 days, cause I'm thinking about some people who put up their banners and it's a bit hard, like I know yours is pretty secured into a few places. And so then you go 30 days without being able to advertise anything.
Sure.
And I don't,
Do you wanna pose it as a question? So, cause Susie spent 45 minutes on the phone, not yet. Spent 45 minutes on the phone with Mona today explaining some of these. So do you wanna pose it as a question so she can answer that? Because the way you're reading it is not the way that it was proposed during the planning commission.
okay, yeah, I would like to hear it.
Susie. Trustee Wyland is concerned about the verbiage that advises they can only, I'm gonna let you pose it. I don't wanna speak for you.
Okay, so I guess my question is, and maybe I am reading it wrong, but it says for 60 consecutive days in the quarter. So quarter being 3 months, so does that sign need to come down for 30 days?
So we did have that discussion. Overall, you can have signs up for 240 days out of the year. You can use 60 days at the end of that quarter, and you can use your 60 days at the beginning of the next quarter, which would give you 120 days with a sign up, not having to be removed. And that was something that the planning commission worked out in order to allow even more time for businesses to have those up.
And I believe the conversation, correct me if I'm wrong, you had today was, it doesn't necessarily need to be the same sign. If they
Correct.
choose to take it down and change it out with another one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. Yes, it's not the same sign.
So they could have a sign up for 60 days, but they could take it down, put a different sign up, and it would start that 60 days for a different sign. So each sign gets their own 240
Well, even
days.
if you change it at 30 days, you can still change it at 30 days and put a separate sign up. And then the next 30 days, you can put a different sign up.
So each sign gets its own number of days? Or is it for the business altogether?
Susie, go ahead.
Well, you get one sign, one temporary sign per quarter. So that sign, if you want to put it up in January, you can put it up January and February. You'd have to take it down in March, but then you could put it back up for April and May. Or you can choose to not have a sign in January, put it up in February and March. That would be 60 days out of your first quarter. Then you can leave it up for the first 60 days of the next quarter, which would be April and May. And then it would have to come down for 30 days. But you can change out the type of sign if you want to change the verbiage or a different sale or a different
date
event or something like that. Yeah, you can change it out. If you'd like. We're not regulating content. Okay, that's not a part of this conversation. We are not allowed to regulate content. So you could put up, it won't matter to enforcement and it won't matter to the board because it can't unless it's something extremely vulgar or really bad. Then the sign can be up and it doesn't matter what it says. You can change it every week if you'd like.
One thought was
And I-
too, is if you had a sign up for 60 days, it's gonna be worn. I mean, the wind is gonna destroy them anyway, so.
Jay, when we get to public comment, you'll be able to comment to this ordinance.
Can I ask,
Can I say?
what is the benefit or what is the thought process of hanging it or allowing a temporary sign or use of temporary signs for 240 days versus 365 days? Please enlighten me.
That's kind of my question.
Because if you leave a sign up for the entire year, then it's considered a permanent sign as opposed to a temporary sign. Then you have to get a permit for that. And it has to stay on the building or where it's at or where it's allowed to be. You have to differentiate between the temporary signs and the permanent signs. And if you just leave them up all year long, then they're permanent signs and you're not going to be allowed to have as many or as much if it's considered permanent. You can't intermix the two. Permanent and temporary are very different terms.
May I make a suggestion that I'm not voting for it, obviously, I own a business, and I don't put up signs, but I might want to. But, I know a lot of people do rely on this for their business to attract people to come in. And if we don't have people coming in, customers coming in, we're not going to be successful. I think we need to go back to the planning. Oh, no, okay.
I'll make my comment why. We have been working on this for 3 months. We had a work session. We went back to the planning commission with that. They got nothing done the way they wanted it to. They had another meeting and that's when we've developed this. We have played with this ordinance for 3 months now. We need to poop or get off the pot.
Make your revisions to it tonight,
Yes,
and then we will revise the ordinance according to what
Okay.
you want.
yeah,
to
I don't
do.
wanna kick it back.
It's at,
So-
your station for final approval, so you can recommend revisions to it.
For a point of clarity, do we, on our revisions, do we go through in a sense, a line by line motion through that, or are we just gonna hack it and approve it all at once? I'm just asking.
Well, how many changes do you guys wanna make to it?
Well, I'll start, I mean,
Well, no, I mean,
let's start with
please.
I, and I'm gonna strike it right now.
With what?
I-
Hold on.
I think it would be helpful if you're gonna go through it, if we start at the beginning.
Yeah,
That's where in front of that is definitions. I think we're good there. Eligibility. And we got our fee, but,
okay.
permitted
so
number
slow
of duration, I would like to remove that.
down. Okay, slow down. So page 1, good,
I don't know what the hell. it is.
Yeah,
I'm on
ends
page
with traffic
3.
visibility.
Yes.
Page 2, definitions. We're on page 2. I think that's where we need to start.
I don't have a problem with the definitions, so.
So just so you're clear, I think Susie's about to say this, the definitions play a part in what you're trying to revise.
We have to remember, these are temporary signs. It's not something the business is putting up permanently. This is a temporary sign.
If you want to allow temporary signs up all year, then you need to revise your business sign code and allow larger or different types of signs on the buildings.
Cause by
if that's what you're
definition,
looking for.
you cannot have a temporary sign in a permanent place.
Correct.
If
You're not
you-
allowed
yeah.
legally to change what that term means across the country.
What's the least amount of days that we have to deal with taking it down and putting it up? Is that what's in this now? Is that
At least,
like, instead of taking it down for 30 days, putting it back up, or what is the least amount of work here of taking down and putting up that we can do? Maybe you can tell us that. Maybe that would
sure.
be helpful.
Yeah, I think the whole taking down and putting back up every 30 days, that is a choice that somebody would make if they want even more visibility. Honestly, that's probably what is going to garner more business, is actually by changing them out a little more often. But you can put up a temporary sign for 120 days and not touch it. And by doing that, you would take the 2 months out of one quarter and combine them with 2 months out of another quarter. And that gives you 120 days and you don't have to touch it. And then it comes down for 30 days. And then you switch it out, or you put the same one back up for another 120 days.
Okay, what if you have 3 businesses at one property and you want, do you want to speak? No,
Agreed with, yeah.
Well, I let you talk. And that is really happens a lot in the town. So let's say all 3 businesses want to put up a feather banner or whatever they want to put up all at once. Then what happens?
So under the permit requirements, you're allowed one temporary sign permit per business establishment per calendar year. So each business, as long as they have a valid business license, can have one temporary sign up. Now that might mean you have a storefront with 3 temporary signs on it.
Okay.
If there's 3 valid businesses working in there and 3 approved businesses.
No, Debbie, not to public comment.
So, on that, if in the quarter 60 days and then 30 days off, can they stagger that with like 10 days on?
No, cause
No.
only 5 days
Sorry.
off.
No, the reason is that makes, and I know this term, it is, what do I say? I don't want to say annoying, but it's upsetting to some, but that makes enforcement very, very difficult. And it really defeats the purpose of this entire ordinance, to be honest with you. Because there has to be, whether they're always permanent and you decide to just allow temporary signs forever and you make them all permanent, there has to be some sort of order about it. Some sort of order.
So
And this provides that kind of order.
do we keep track of it ourselves, Susie? Do we write down that we took down a sign on this day and put up another one on that? Is that legit to do? Like, we can keep track of that?
You can. I think it would be helpful if you did, so that you know when you do have to take it down and you know when you're ready to put another one up. But I will also keep track of it as well, because with the permit, what the business owner is supposed to do is to just send an email, a simple email, and just say, we're putting up our temporary sign. Here's what it is. You don't have to tell us what it says. Here's what it is. And we choose to have it up for 60 days, 30 days, 120 days.
I have a question.
Miss Connie.
I own the feed store and we've had a Purina sign on the side of that barn probably since the 80s. It's been there a long time. It is kind of part of the ambiance, it's kind of part of the decor. Plus, I am contractually obligated with
Correct.
Purina and Flagler, and Scratch and Peck, that I have to display their signs that Purina products sold here, Flagler Co-op sold here. That is my agreement with my vendors, not with the town of Kiowa, or they can pull my ability to sell their products, which would break the back of my feed store. So what do we do with that? And define, temporary sign? Are we talking like soft signs, feather signs, banners? Cause these are metal, they're wood.
That's what they're
things like
defined
that.
here as.
Yeah,
So if you have permanent signs, I believe you have one per street frontage, and that's what you are allowed.
For the business.
Because you're on a corner for the business, yeah. So I believe the ones you're talking about that are permanent and have been up for a long time, those are considered your permanent signs. Those
Okay.
can stay. We're not discussing those tonight. Those are permanent signs. As far as the temporary signs, that's something that you'll have to work out, or the board, or however you want to accommodate something like that. But that's not much different than anyone else. I understand your circumstances for sure. And I don't lean either way. This is your town. You all make that decision and how you want it to end up. But you wouldn't be considered any different than anyone else as far as having, multiple specials to attract business to their store versus having multiple types of products to attract business to their store.
So another thing that we talked about in the work session was something about however big the building is however many signs that they could have, right? Because Joey makes a good point. She's got a large place
yeah, she does.
but we've got Tiffany upstairs and then we've got her down here, but she, two flags there, I think wouldn't look overcrowded because it's a large
But that would be
area.
really hard for Susie to enforce,
It's that and.
for her to go along with the tape measure and go, okay, this building is.
Right,
60
that's not
feet.
enforceable, and what about the businesses next to her that aren't as big? Or is she drowning them out? And there's also the consideration that you've got a population of almost 800 people here. And I hear you trying to write an ordinance to one business. And
No,
their
I was just
preferred-
using it as an example.
But I'm saying that they are the predominant voices, if you will admit it. And you don't write an ordinance or a law based off really what's going on right now. It's not just maybe an issue you're dealing with right now, but also down the road again. What you're doing right now is put into permanent record on how it's handled. If that bar comes and goes, and whoever moves in there, then it's applicable to whoever moves in there. We're not just talking about the bar as the bar right now. We're talking about the bar as a bar right now and whatever it can be in the next 5, 10, 20 years. Or however long this ordinance sets in the code in this verbiage. Does that make sense?
Another thing.
I just wanted on the record that I just use that as an example.
Oh, I understand.
because-
I understand.
But it's also something that we talked about in the work session that I was
Yes.
just kind of expected to see.
Well, when we
Some-
talked to Susie, she said it would be really hard to enforce like size of building. For her to, go and figure out how big a building is versus you have a business, you get a sign or you get 2 signs, whatever. Something else that the planning board talked about that wasn't in her memo was, part of the reason they talked about having it up for a period and taking them down for a period is the ones that are out, let's say, I'm just gonna pick on Leeches. Okay, and they have the hanging down sign, okay, that they've had for quite a while.
A banner?
The banner that's in front, pretty soon you don't see it. It just, you become blind to it because you drive by it all the time and you don't see it anymore, so then it isn't. Does that make sense? And now it isn't drawing in anybody because no one sees it anymore, it's just,
But that's just
So-
your opinion, I think.
Question about that.
I don't.
well, I'm just saying, that was an item of discussion. Not my opinion, that was just an item of discussion.
Okay. I guess where I'm at is. So let's use Leeches, and if they wanna hang a banner out there once a week right there, this week's lunch specials are this or whatever, if they
Sure.
wanna hang the same banner there until it's to the point where we deem it to be wore out or whatever. Personally, I'm okay with that. It's their business, it's their storefront, it is theirs. If every week Dino's wants to hang I mean, home fall football special pizza, I don't. Here's where I'm at on it. The businesses that were putting this on operate 365 days a year. And if part of their deal is hanging a frickin' banner in front of their deals that says lunch special is this, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, I'm okay with that. And I'm not gonna tell them, nope, you can't hang crap for 30 days. And sorry that
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna support it.
Well, the manner in which
I
you're.
don't have a dog in the fight.
The manner in which you're explaining it is the definition of a temporary sign. They're putting temporary signs out advertising specials. That's a temporary sign.
Yep.
The banner that now sits at the front of Echo that says thrift store, that is a banner. That is not a permanent business sign as the code currently reads. So when you're looking at it from that perspective, that by definition is not a permanent sign, and there should have always been a permanent sign as defined in our code currently.
Yeah.
And as defined by the definition given here, which is no different. So that's where it gets mucky. Do you know what I mean? And that's where the conversation, I think, gets sideways, is what the way you're presenting it is absolutely I understand that. That's temporary signs. And if you want them to have as many temporary signs as they want to have all year long, then that fits the definition of a temporary sign.
Okay.
But things like a banner that's up there, the same banner every single day, 365 days a year, by definition, is a permanent sign.
So if they have a sign that says Echo as a permanent sign, such as a lot of us have,
Right.
and then they can put up the banner too.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so we'll pitch in and get them a sign.
Well, I
Okay.
propose, I
Yeah.
went to conference up in Breck and I thought, I guess I didn't pay enough attention going down through town center most of the days. And I thought I had a novel idea when I was going through Breckenridge, and their signs are required to stick out from the building. Because part of the initial conversation we started with this sign code was they weren't visible. And I thought, okay, well, that's because the signs are flush against the building. And as you're driving, you're having to turn to look at the building itself. But then I come back to town and I realize there's a
Most
number
of
of
them do.
businesses that have those signs that come out from the building. So whether you're coming from east or west, you're seeing that business name because the sign is right there over the building, right out in traffic, but visible to traffic.
Alright.
So you like those kind of signs that are out on the
Well,
side?
I think that if we're seeking, if what we're seeking to do is be more visible to people coming through town, it would seem to reason that a sign like that would be what they really need to have. And I suggested that maybe one of Main Street's first projects is a signage project. The town come in and help fund a project like that and help the businesses obtain signs like that if they don't already have them.
While we're talking about signs, I'll bring this up because I was thinking about it all night. I would love to see a sign at either end of Kiowa saying in an awesome way, welcome to Kiowa.
Well, we got one.
We have
We've got
one,
one right now up by the tower.
and we have a
We have
second
another
one,
one.
but we don't have. a
Connie's
second
given
one.
us permission to put it there.
Yeah.
Where town starts on the west end, but we've not been able to establish safe enough or secure enough groundage right there on the hill
We have
to
to
put it.
get
We're still
that
struggling
today.
with that, but there is one.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, we have a big one.
Well, I don't go out of town too much. so-
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we do, we have
So
one up
that-
by the water tower, we
yeah.
have a second one, but like she said, we actually were talking to maintenance today about
Yeah.
how to secure the ground to be able to put the sign, cause there's kind of a.
Well, can we put it on the north side of the road?
I don't know. Let's focus on this though, so we can get
Okay.
through this, because it's already.
I have a question for Susie, and forgive me if you answered this, I must not remember what you had said, but. So does each sign get their own 240 days? So if I had a pink sign and I put it out for consecutive 60 days, and then the very next day put out a green sign, then it would start its consecutive, or its 240 days?
So let's say you wanted to use the 120 days, but you wanted to switch out your signs. The only thing you really have to tell us in that email is that you're going to use, what duration you're gonna use for your temporary sign. Other than that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kim and the board or anybody who's there from the planning commission, other than that, I don't think it matters what sign it is. I did not hear that anybody wanted to regulate
No.
any of these businesses on what they could put on their sign.
No.
And if you wanna switch it back and forth during your 60 days, if that's what you so choose, from, on Fridays you have some sort of special, and then on the next Friday you have another special, and you wanna change that sign by color and by letters or what have you, that's fine, go ahead. You're still within your 60 days, as long as it's still on the property, as long as it doesn't exceed the size limit or the height. We're not regulating that part of it. So
But will businesses be without signage for 125 days?
If it's temporary.
Without a temporary one.
They have
So,
permanent
so
signs.
They
here's,
have permanent signs.
here's my
Temporary.
question. Say I own a restaurant, and say I wanna put out a sandwich board on the sidewalk every day to show what the lunch special is. And it's a sandwich board, and I'm putting on the sidewalk, and it's chalk or whatever the hell I make it every morning. There's 100 days in the calendar year I can't put that out, according to this, is that correct?
My question.
that's correct. And secondly, you would not be able to put it on the sidewalk. The town is obligated to keep sidewalks clear and accessible for anybody who could be coming through there. So you can't put it on the sidewalk regardless. You can't put it on the sidewalk in any city or town. And if they do, they're cited for it. But you're correct. There is 100 days in there where you don't, but that's what we're doing that's what has to happen is temporary has to be different than permanent.
So I have a
And what is
sandwich
that
board.
number?
Tammy has a question.
I have a question about my sandwich board. If I don't put my sandwich board out in front of my salon, people think I'm closed. And it's up there 5 days a week. So that's more than what is saying this temporary sign is. So am I gonna be fined for that, for trying to let people
So
know?
first of all, code enforcement does not issue fines. Let's make that perfectly
Okay.
clear against
Got it, forgot that.
public opinion. The only people that can assess fines
Is the
under
judge.
enforcement is a judge.
Got it. But I'm just saying, that's not, I'm
Would
not,
she be cited?
what I've decided for it.
Don't know if I'm clear on what exactly you're asking for. Can you say that again for me?
So,
Give me that example again.
hey, I have a sandwich board and it lets people know that I'm open. And the hours that I'm open, or if I have availability for a day. And my question was, I use it, or my thing is I use it every day I'm in the salon. So that's usually 5 days a week. So, and that just lets people know I'm there. So am I going to be cited for having it there? Letting people know that I'm open, cause that's the only way usually people know I'm there.
Let me ask you a question though. Do you take it in at night?
Yeah,
So it's not permanent,
no, it's not permanent, it's temporary.
right?
But
So
under the temporary things, it says 60 days.
if we're going,
Required.
let me just suggest, if we go with the discussion that Trevor created. And not put a limit to the number of days of a temporary sign. The sandwich board, I don't think Patty Ann's puts a sandwich board out and leaves it out overnight. I think it gets pulled in because you don't want it taken away. Same with you. So that's a temporary sign because it's not sitting out there on a permanent basis.
Right, I
But the
understand that.
issue she's talking about is the number of days.
And I'm saying if we went with Trevor's suggestion. If you're suggesting a revision to this code. And the current ordinance as it sits in front of you. And you are proposing that there not be a limit to temporary number of days that temporary signs can set out, then that would fall under the definition of a temporary sign, coming and going, coming and going. It's not sitting there in a permanent position 365 days of the year.
Right, no.
Does that
it's-
make sense?
Well, and if I can say, what you lose by making it permanent is you lose the flexibility to change it out easily. You lose the flexibility of pulling it in so it doesn't get stolen. So, I mean, temporary does have its advantages. You know, and with the sandwich board. So if to answer your original question, yes, there would be about 100 days out of the year where you would not be able to put your sandwich board out.
Based on the current language.
Correct.
Can we put anything we want inside the store,
Yes.
neon signs, whatever we
Yes.
want? Okay. So maybe we,
Inside the store.
right,
Yes. It's not
Yes.
outside.
there's no restriction whatsoever.
Not that I'm aware of.
Annette, it's not an interactive meeting. You have to wait till public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it's directly relevant to what
You-
you're saying.
The public is not commenting right now.
I thought we said we would hold our comments until.
Until public comment.
time.
No, until public comment is called. And right now they're working. This is a working meeting.
Gotcha.
Yes, ma'am.
What if, because I can hear exactly what you're saying, that could be really hurtful to your business, if people don't think you're open. So what if we change from 240 days a year to whatever, 5 days a week times 52, I don't have my calculator.
See, and that's gonna be so hard for people with big signs.
It would be, yeah, it would be, but I think basically what I'm saying, 240 days of signage, when you're paying all the taxes, all the mortgages, all of that help, all of that to run a business. I don't feel 240 days is enough days of the year personally, that's what I'm saying.
So,
Well, try to remember that they're not prohibiting anybody from having their permanent signs as well, right? I mean, you definitely have an argument there if you weren't allowed to have any signage on your building or on your awnings, because that's allowed too. For people who have awnings or, you know, projections out from their building itself. So and you can put open signs in your doors, all of that kind of stuff. There are a lot of alternatives, and I'm not saying this to argue for it. I'm just helping everyone understand and keep the subjectivity kind of compartmentalized and not too convoluted. So just remember that it sounds, the way it's put just a moment ago sounds like the only way somebody would find a business is through their temporary sign. And because there's 100 days where you can't have it, how would we ever know you're open or even there? Well, you still have all your other signage that is allowed and that is permanent, that could be changed. And to be honest with you, the signs that Kim was talking about that they have in Breckenridge are super effective. And a lot of cities and towns are changing to those perpendicular signs that project from the building as opposed to sit flush on the building.
Is there a limit on how many signs you can put on a building? As far as permanent?
Under our
There's
code
a
one.
square footage limit for permanent signs on your buildings.
Fit it on there with Glacier Gas. I don't know.
Well,
Except
and
it's
that's
two- It's two different businesses.
part of the problem where Tammy's at is there is an outside sign that advertises the salon.
Mhm.
There is no front door to just Tammy's business.
yeah, she sits in one of those that has a deck. And it doesn't have a sidewalk when you come out the door. You have to go up the steps to a deck. It's by Glacier.
Yeah, you have to go in the main door. One side you go to Glacier, the other side you go to Tammy's.
Where you
So,
Glacier and get to Tammy.
Well, the front door, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
right,
But not everybody knows that, and not everybody knows I'm there, you know? And I've had people say, oh, you really have time for a walk-in today, you know, that kind of thing, because I turn the sign around to the side that says,
Walk in.
yeah, and no waiting, yeah.
Well, and I'm thinking about your, coffee people, if they didn't have a sign up for 120 days, nobody sees that they're back there.
Yeah.
And they don't have permanent signs.
So
Yeah.
here's my suggestion for that, and really the way it should be already. At Just Peachy, at your place, when you have multiple businesses on that property, it's easy for Mona structure because all those storefronts open out to the parking lot.
Yeah, they do.
When you have a structure like 40 Mile and then the coffee place, that's a permanent business over there on your property. Or you have Just Peachy that has more businesses inside that building. There should be a permanent sign outside that business that lists the businesses in that
Like
building.
they have an Elizabeth.
Yes.
Rick
That
and
is
I
true.
are working on
And
that.
Jake and I had discussed that previously for your property, at least.
Yeah.
So,
Working on that right
Yeah.
this exact week. We've started, Erica. So,
yeah. So in actuality, a
Okay.
permanent business sign should be structured that way for properties that are set up in the way that Just Peachy's building and yours are set up.
Yes, the property owner should be accommodating all the businesses within what they're allowed to have on the building. And however they work that out, is up to them. Some people have more square footage, so the owner allows a little bit bigger sign than others. Some people pay for more square footage of a sign, however they want to work that out. But it really should, the property owner, the building owner really should be helping the business owners get as much visibility as they can on that permanent sign.
So how do we want to work through this? It's 9 o'clock. Do we want to go through this line item? And do you want to come to a general consensus? Definitions are the definitions. There's no change in these definitions. You can't change a definition to what you want it to be to fit your narrative, if that makes sense. And I'm not being.
Yeah, they're pretty standardized.
But as you work through this and you're talking about the eligibility, even, we can talk about the eligibility, permanent number and duration size. But if you're wanting proposed changes to this, we need to start working through this. So how do you want to work through this?
So under II, permitted number and duration. A business may display one temporary sign, strike the rest of them. So business may display one temporary sign. And that, we're done. The sign may remain on the property, on B, it says for maximum of 60 consecutive days. I could live with that if they take it down on a Sunday, 2 days and wanna put it back up. It's gonna, if it's a banner and it's out here, it's gonna look like,
yeah.
it's gonna be worn after
Yeah,
60
yeah.
days, it is.
That was.
Well, and then they can
So-
change it out.
Huh?
They can change it out.
So, but, I mean, if, in the same time, if they got. Where they got a one for Monday, Tuesday, whatever it. The maximum. A sign or banner or feather can stand in one location
Can I propose something?
for 60 days.
You have some businesses in town that are open Saturdays and Sundays, and that's when they have their specials.
If,
Susie, would it work if the business gave, I don't know. Is there a way to work around that? Trustee Smith is proposing a Monday through Friday. However, you've got businesses in town that are open Saturdays and Sundays, like the restaurants,
Are there any that are open?
but are closed maybe some days during the week. Is there a way to enforce those businesses having those signs on the days that they're open? And up the days that they're not?
They're open 7 days.
Yeah.
The Mexican has it open 7 days. And so
Everybody needs to be treated equally
Okay,
and fairly.
it has
and
to
I
be
can
what's
see-
enforceable.
Yeah, it's not that it can't be done, it's that it really wouldn't be legal.
Okay, because it's not equal
Yeah,
across the
you're
board
being
for
super
everybody.
subjective about who gets what in the ordinance. So it's either, it's the same for all, it has to be the same for all.
cause I guess what I'm looking at is this. Enlighten me, cause the way it reads is a sign. The sign. So if I have banner A that says half off on haircuts. that sign may remain on the property for the maximum of 60 consecutive days. But if I have a second sign that's the same dimensions, but it says half off on coloring, and I alternate them, B doesn't apply to me.
I don't think that's the case.
No.
If I'm
Show
hearing
me
you
how it
correctly.
doesn't, it's the way it says, is that the sign may remain on the property for maximum of 60 consecutive days. And if I pull the sign off every 48 hours, and it's not on my property for 60 consecutive days.
That's how it works. Right, so that's why I was asking about staggering, where, and then also it says in here that we have to notify you when the temporary sign is changed.
No,
If I walk out there,
no, not necessarily when it's changed. You notify us when you're using your consecutive days.
So she knows when she comes in town and sees it there, she's not violating you. If cause she shows up, she's in town essentially once every 30 days. So depending on when you put it up, she will see it twice. If she sees it more than 60 consecutive days, and you have not said you're using 120 consecutive days, then she's gonna consider that in violation of the temporary sign. Does that make sense?
no,
You can, you can say, I'm gonna use my 2 months out of the first quarter. And then decide a week before that quarter ends and say, this has been very effective. Let's leave it up for another 60 days. Just email us.
Yeah.
But let me
I'd
just,
be emailing you every 60 days, hey, I'm turning or every other day, turning my sign around saying, availability now, or something like that.
No, you don't have to email if all you're doing is changing out a sign within your 60 days.
Okay, that's kind of what it says.
No, you don't have to do that. It was never the intent of anyone to cause that kind of arduous process for
We
anyone.
can't keep track of that. She can't keep track of that. It's ridiculous.
No,
I won't keep track of that.
just
now
to clarify, Trevor, your basic idea is that you get rid of this 60 consecutive, the quarter thing, correct?
I get rid of the 240 of 365 days. If you wanna hang a temporary sign,
Okay, I'm just double checking.
365 days in front of your building, I know damn good and well that it will be a temporary sign. And it ain't gonna be the same sign as going to live in front of your building 365 days in Kyle, Colorado, between the snow, the wind, and every other hailstorms and
It'll get
everything.
shredded.
It isn't gonna
The
last.
fact that says,
And if
When
it
it-
does, it's gonna
definitely.
look like shit. And
Right.
there's a clause farther down that says when it looks like that, it's gotta go. I have I am more comfortable enforcing that, hey, it looks like it's tattered crap, and kick it out. Don't worry about how many days it's sitting in front of your building.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
Now, I have a question that I know Beano's does this every year.
Yep.
Where are we addressing the signs like we put up to advertise our concerts? He likes to put up signs for each graduate for that senior year.
Yep.
How is that being addressed?
He can do that. He can change it out every day if he'd like, within his 60 or 100, within those consecutive days that he's allowed, however he wants to put those together. He can put them up he could do one every day for 120 days.
Okay, but what we're saying is we're only allowing one temporary sign. If there are 11 seniors graduating, he's gonna have 11 individual signs out in front of his restaurant.
Well, that would be what this is trying to prevent from happening.
That goes back to my statement a couple months ago about town, community, pride, culture, all right here. I will grant that. I don't know how we write that, but we will figure out a solution.
What can we do to exempt that or work around that or not make that an issue? Susie?
I would. Well, like I said, he could put. He could make one sign that has all, and I've seen this before, he could make one sign that has all 12 students on it. And that can hang for 120 days.
What if he wanted to put something that said, congratulations, Kiowa graduates on one side, and then list the graduates' names on another sign, and then list Kiowa football schedule on another sign or something? I don't know.
Well, and if he does the senior thing and he does make it on one sign, he's not advertising any specials. for
No,
that
not at
entire
all.
thing.
He's trying
Good
to,
point.
A special event.
Right.
It's a
Well, it's
special-
not a special event under your definition of special events.
Hmm.
And that's where you have to keep things separate. That would not be considered a special event.
Well, the other option we have,
Generous, he's just, you know, he's just doing it out of the kindness of his heart.
I
But it's
know,
not a
I know
special
you guys are
event.
frustrated with this, so freaking frustrated with this, but it has to be something that's enforceable. It has to be equitable. You can't give preferential treatment, or then we're setting ourselves up with issues down the road, you know?
Well, if I can clarify a little bit, Kim, I think what I'm hearing is that there's some people, obviously some people who would say, I don't want any of this enforceable. I just want you and your code to go away.
Yes.
So first of all, it's not my code, but I get that. I understand that. But you can't, you either have to say, we're going to allow as many permanent signs on a building as anybody would like, and change other portions of your sign code to allow placard signs all over your buildings that are permanent. They can't just be made out of banner material, because that's a temporary sign. So I think there's still this difficulty in separating the two issues, or the two terms. And one is permanent signs and one is temporary signs. And as one of the gentlemen had said, let's remove the consecutive days and just let them have temporary signs up all year long. Well, then you're removing the term temporary, you put in the term permanent, and now they fall under a whole different guideline of what they can have. They can't have the flags and the banners and all that kind of stuff hanging all over the building, because your code says they can't. So you have to come to some sort of a conclusion on this temporary sign thing. I mean, you just have to. It's not that I want you to. It's not even that it's not easily enforceable. It's just that you can't combine the two.
the proposal I
Some
have,
sort of definition, some sort of subjective, some sort of objective standards for temporary signs, because you want them. And you want the flexibility to interchange them. You want the flexibility to change the colors and what they say. There's nothing about that that's permanent. Everything about that is temporary. So you have to have a temporary sign code.
Is there, oh, go ahead.
the proposal I have, since we can't come to an agreement on this, we trash it, we go back to existing code, and that's what's enforced with signs. That's my suggestion.
I think I would wanna read over that code one more time. There's been so many things presented that it's hard to keep everything straight.
Well, we need to do something with this tonight.
well, then what is?
Not,
Tell you what that code reads, and that is that no portable or temporary signs are allowed.
I like to make the motion that we move this on to next month's meeting, and we've sorted out there, because we're at an impasse. It's 9 PM. We got some other stuff that we probably ought to take care of.
So what, we're just gonna put it off till next month? Are we gonna send it back to the planning commission? Because all of us are sitting here talking, we can't agree the last 40 minutes on what to do.
Actually,
So why should we have it?
I think there's a group of us that can agree. Right now, we're arguing with enforcement. I think there's a group of us that are on the same page that understand it. There's a lot of semantics going on of, a banner is a temporary sign, a feather's a temporary sign. We have definition. Now we're worried about how long it's planted. And if and then we go through the deal and we go, all right, so if I have it up for a week, take it down, put up a different sign in the same spot, same size. It's supposedly the same damn sign. So I'm done with that.
As a suggestion, just throwing this out there, because I did do this for the planning committee. If you decide to table it, you could each individually email me your thoughts. I can put them in a summary and send them out.
I think if we do table it, that needs to happen. Everybody's gotta have their opinion on how this goes forward.
And that's what I did for them, is I summarized all of their thoughts, all of their.
That would mean you'd have to respond. When she sends out an email.
I would need
I
a
need a
response so I can
response.
summarize them. So you would have them before the next meeting.
Like, give us a date of
Yep.
this needs to be in by then.
Yes. So I would give you like 2 Fridays kind of thing. So. Like,
I don't think this should go back to planning commission.
I don't think it should either.
Now.
They've sent it back to you twice.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can have it to me by like the 22nd, well, I don't work Fridays, so say the 21st or even the 25th, which is. Or even the 26th, which is 2 weeks from today.
Gonna change anything.
No,
To do
it's
that.
not. We're sitting here talking about the
Yeah,
same
we get
things
the same.
over and over and over.
We'll have the same.
Susie, I've got a
So-
question for you. Would it be possible that to change some kind of wording? Cause I get when you're saying temporary means that you've exceeded 240 days. But if it's a different sign, then, and it's getting switched out,
Change the
why
verbiage.
can't each sign have its own 240 days?
Or each sign have its own 30 days.
Or just verbiage that says you're able to switch them out. Right
Something
now,
like
it
that.
reads to effect that it's, cause like Trevor said, the sign.
Yeah, cause I think my greatest concern with this whole entire thing is that our businesses will be sitting for 160 days without any advertisement besides their permanent sign. And I get they have their permanent sign,
Not
but yours,
everybody does.
not
though.
everybody does. You don't?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you can use the temporary sign as your permanent sign. That's the whole point.
Correct.
Right.
We
Yeah,
can-
that's understood. That should be in the verbiage in here, is that.
I agree with that.
Temporary sign is not to be used as a permanent sign.
Right.
And, and I get that, but I'm on the issue like Bailey just said, and there are businesses like mine and like, Annette, and, Beano's, the
Like the
restaurant
coffee
sitting
shop
there.
down there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the coffee shop, that, they don't have, they do like to change out and support the community, and I think that should be to their discretion.
So am I hearing? The biggest complaint right now is the vague verbiage
Yes.
as it relates to temporary signs.
Yes.
Is there an issue with permanent signs?
Permanent signs, I have an issue with permanent signs. Right here, flashing, rotating, animated signs, signs that are designated.
That is in your
That-
current
Are
code,
designed, okay,
and that is
And
dictated by
that's
CDOT.
VDOT.
That's by CDOT.
Yes,
okay, but what about Kiowa School?
They were given a permit by CDOT.
yes.
Okay, cause that's my only
Yeah.
concern.
But
was-
anyways, that's a CDOT rule. That's
Yeah.
not an us.
Okay.
For me, it's if they wanna be able to. Hang a banner in front of their building. At their entrance to the feed store, gas station. Put a feather and they move it, I don't. The coffee shop goes out and puts it when they're open and takes it back when they're closed. I have no problem with that. The second issue for me is if JR. This is a case in point, but
I do
if
understand. that.
if Beano's Pizza wants to put a picture with a little placard at every senior or every football player, senior football player or volleyball player,
Can they do that?
underwater swimmer, I don't give a rat's.
Can we do like, Beano's can do that for 30 days?
We can't make exceptions for one business that,
Well, I'm
It's
not
not-
saying, but Beano's is the one that would do it. I mean, I'm not saying to make an exception, but
Oh,
can we write something in there that for 30 days you can put out 30 days in 1 year, you could put out 10 or 15 sign. Is that legal?
Not
No.
consistent. Go ahead, Susan.
I'm wondering if to accommodate the senior grads situation, if we modify the special events section to include something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what would that be like?
That's a, I mean, that's a possibility.
There you go.
So I have like,
And then, and what we could do potentially, I'm just thinking through this, what we could do potentially is allow each business to have maybe one per year or one per every 6 months or something, a special event sign.
Awesome.
But it has to fall under a definition of special event. So we can't just start making everything a special event.
Well, like Mona's has, like, she put up a banner for first responder rodeo. That's a special event. Cowboy Up Rodeo, special event.
yeah,
The fair is a special event.
Back the badge.
yeah,
All
when,
of those.
when,
They're generally
Event.
community driven events. Graduation is, I know the community is very involved in all of that, but it's not a community driven event. It's a school educational program.
It is, but I will beg to differ. From my point of view, in a town such as Kiowa, that is a community driven event.
So that would fall, then I think what we should do is change the special events definitions
Okay,
and let that fit in.
okay,
And then under temporary signs, we can put a section in there that says each business can have whatever you decide, 1 or 2 special event temporary signs per year for 30 days. I mean, you guys can come up with that yourselves.
okay.
Whatever you think is reasonable.
So that seems more flexible to change than changing something that's defined as a temporary or permanent sign.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I do.
I can send the current code language for special event signage to the board. And we can pick that apart and figure out a way to revise that to accommodate what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll be honest with you, when we first started this, my only goal was the people that don't work in Kiowa, don't live in Kiowa, coming into Kiowa, bolting signs to the electrical poles, putting them up in front of Mona's house and all through the neighborhoods. They don't live here, they don't work here. And that was the initial goal, was to make that stop, not what it has evolved into tonight. It's giving me a twitch in my freaking eye. So.
Yeah, it's been a long haul for everyone. And, everybody should be commended in being passionate about it, whichever side you're on, and working hard at it, because clearly you want to do what's in the best interest of your community. So.
Okay, so.
I just have one more thing. That the only, like, okay, so being concerned about the one sign thing too. Something that crossed my mind is that the bar is selling coffee and they're doing breakfast burritos and stuff like that. And several people have been like, have you seen that coffee sign? I had no idea. I'm like, oh yeah, the bar is doing this. It's not just a bar. But then they also have their, like, a Coors Light sign or whatever. So that's just my thought on the one temporary sign that gets me, and I understand the clutter and having too much, but just for some businesses, it will affect them.
Well, and like I said, Echo's got a banner as their permanent sign right now, so
And they
it may
just
affect
has
them
a
as well.
banner and a feather,
Yeah.
so they have 2.
There's give and takes. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
and it's hard when you're trying to do the best. for
Signs are really,
pretty much
really,
everything.
really, really expensive.
They are
Permanent
expensive.
signs are, I just paid $8,000.
It is unfortunately
Yeah,
part of your business
it
license.
is, it is.
Says you will have a permanent sign.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying how
So-
expensive it's gotten.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so we have a thought moving forward. Do we want? Are we're not considering the ordinance, so are we doing
I don't know,
Shall
what do we
we-
wanna do?
Yeah,
Are we
okay.
tabling it? Are
I
we
still say
trash canning it? What are we doing?
Table it,
Uh-huh.
and you come up with a date that we all put in all of our suggestions. It can be
Okay.
composited and hopefully.
Okay.
I
I'll send
understand,
you the verbiage
okay.
and the code.
And I understand that at next month, some of us might not want exactly, because it sounds like we're all kind of going in the same direction, but. There's obviously some things we're gonna differ, but we've gotta get it buttoned up.
I agree.
Oh, yeah, we've gone 3 months.
Yeah.
This'll put us on 4 months
Well,
of no one getting cited for putting signs and stuff up on our light poles and all the stuff for people that aren't even in this town. So is that a motion?
How would you
Okay.
Monitor the next
How would
meeting.
you, how would you know who?
All right, we got a motion.
Trevor seconded it.
Okay.
So,
Now, is there any discussion?
I need it set on record, are we still stalling enforcement of the current code until we reach a resolution in this?
Well, in my opinion, yes,
Okay,
I think it would
because
be
nothing's changed.
hard to
I
enforce.
wanted that on record with Susie on the phone, so it's clear.
Yeah, I just need to have good direction, that's all.
Thank you, Susie, for your help this evening.
Is there any other discussion on this?
no,
All in favor, say aye. Opposed?
Susie?
I'm abstaining.
If anybody has any questions, feel free to call me too, if you just wanna kind of talk through things as well. I did that with somebody just today. So I think it was helpful. So,
All right,
Yeah.
thank you,
Can
Susie.
we do public comment?
We're not considering the ordinance.
No, we're
now,
not
so there's
considering
no
it.
public
yeah.
comment to
So
it.
public comment would be.
It will be added to next month, so. Okay,
one more time, guys, we just need to get it together.
I agree. Let's look at it.
Okay, and I will send out an email tomorrow.
Really good. Thank you.
Okay, then next item of business, new business. Resolution. Resolution number 10, series 2025. A resolution supporting the memorandum of understanding agreement to the Colorado Energy Office Energy Performance Contracting Program. Kim, could you explain that a little bit?
that was the energy department that came out and explained the contracting program where they come out and they do an audit of all our facilities, our infrastructure. They propose revisions to those that, yes, would effectively increase our energy savings. And so through a lot of conversations and a lot of meetings, we determined that there is no change to our general fund. We do not need a budget for this because the payments related to it will come directly out of our energy utility payments. And I just need a resolution authorizing me to return their memorandum of understanding to start the process.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion?
No,
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay. Do I have one of those up here to sign, Sasha?
Yes.
Or- Okay, staff reports. Mayor's report. The only thing I have to talk about is we are still working on an IGA with the county. We've been in discussions about it. So that's where we stand with that. Does the board of trustees have anything?
I do. I spoke with the seniors this morning at the senior center. And they were, thank you for talking to your mom about the flooring, and
Yeah.
they've been very helpful. So far, they've gotten the kitchen redone and 2 of the bathrooms redone. And then they have enough flooring to do the office and the little sewing table room. And so one of my neighbors is the contractor helping to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome. They're having. In October, they wanted to know if they could set up a table to invite people to join the senior center.
Yeah.
And
At
visit.
Fall Fest?
Oh, at the Harvest Fest?
Yeah.
Yep, I will put them on there.
And then the chili dinner, they're having their chili dinner on the 18th. And,
Of this month.
yeah, 18th of October. Okay, and I can't remember the times, I didn't write down the times, I don't think they have them yet. And then October 4th, and I don't know how many of you know Evie Scott. She's amazing. She's 90 years old.
I
And
already
she's
guessed
just
that.
amazing. So on the 4th, over at Fellowship Hall, she is going to be selling a lot of her quilts. Some of them are table runners, some of them are wall hangings, some of them are bed quilts. But she's got 83 of them counted as of today.
Wow.
So she'll be selling them and then she will be donating that money back to the church. So,
That's on October 4th, did you say?
yes, October 4th over at Fellowship Hall.
At what time?
She didn't specify a time. I don't have that written down or I
It's
didn't say a
okay.
time.
We can look for it.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. So, and I think that's all I've got in there.
Anything else from the board? We currently don't have a town attorney, so let's go to town administrator.
Okay. Activity report from the sheriff's office for 2024 through year-to-date 2025. They reported a total of 904 calls for the entire year of 2004. These calls range from hang-up calls to serious incidents such as the shooting that occurred last year, sex assault on children, and menacing. Those are the most concerning. Among these calls, approximately 770 were traffic related. Additionally, there were 342 calls for increased patrols. And what this means is that deputies patrol specific areas of town that are deemed to help reduce or deter crime in those particular locations because they've had increased call volume in those locations. From January 1st to July 7th, which is when I received this report, there's been a total of 572 calls for service. So this figure represents an increase of approximately 120 calls for service compared to this same period in 2024. So I'm not sure what the contributing factors are to that, but it's going up in Kiowa. This Highway 86 storm drainage and sidewalk improvement project, the design and engineering packet is being prepared by Finley Horn and set to be submitted to CDOT at or around August 16th for their review. This will be the first review by CDOT, and that should take approximately 2 to 3 weeks to get feedback from that. Grant updates. I have some unfortunate news for you. We did submit the concept paper to GOCO for the Parks project funding, and unfortunately, we're not approved for this application cycle. They advised they had 35 concept papers to consider for this grant cycle with over $40 million in requests, which is over twice as much as GOCO's total available funding for the year, which is 16.8 million, which made for very strong competition. Christine and I are scheduling a meeting with GOCO rep within the next week to discuss the feedback on our submission and project readiness for the next cycle when it opens. Some optimistic news is the grant we applied for earlier this year, which was initially the first come first served basis. We got it in and then they shut the portal down and then subsequently erased all of our information, is now set to reopen for a first come first served submission on September 8th. It will open at noon and I will resubmit for the County Road 45 corridor. And again, that's aiming to bring that connection into what we're doing on 86 with the same storm drainage and sidewalks and such. Kickoff to the fair, as Tammy said, was very well received. We had great feedback on it. Numerous people have expressed excitement to continue it in the years to come, explaining that it would be a cherished tradition to reinstate. The town had a lot of cooperation and generous help from multiple entities to make that event happen, and I would like to note that the Elbert County Sheriff's Posse, Kiowa Fire Protection District, Elizabeth Fire Protection District, Rattlesnake Fire Protection District, North Central Fire Protection District, Simla Fire Protection District, Elbert Fire Protection District, and Agate Fire Protection District. Essentially, every fire protection district in Elbert County came to the call and helped us have that event kick off. In appreciation for the contributions, the town is sending a thank you card and a donation of $500 to each entity. for a total donation of $4,000. Without their contributions, the event would not have been possible at all. It is notable to mention that we had a local citizen come in the very next day, express their appreciation for the show, and make a donation on the spot toward next year's event. So, some more good news, we have a new hire for our public works. I don't know if you all know Teddy, he's with CDOT, he's been with them 24 years. He is set to retire at the end of this month. And after he takes a little sabbatical with his wife for their anniversary to Europe, he is coming back here and would like to be his retirement job here in Iowa, since he lives 6 miles down the road. He'll be full-time starting October 6th. He'll work 4 days a week, 10 hours a day. For a full work week, he comes to us with a wealth of experience and knowledge in the job, and trust me, I believe we're very fortunate to have him. He's gonna be critical once we get these road revisions done in knowing how to plow them appropriately with the revisions. So, and he has 25 years of experience with CDOT, so he has those inner workings and those connections that, we can build off of. And then the last item on my report is the request to multiple public comments that have been made during the July meetings. So I did include at each one of your stations a memo from myself addressing those public comments. And moving forward, this is what we'll do so that we don't have the feeling that they're not being heard and they're not being answered, okay? On July 8th, 2025, during the Town of Iowa's monthly meeting of the Board of Trustees, and the July 22nd special meeting of the Board of Trustees, the following specific public comments were made. And I'd like to address them now. Number one, Debbie Olin made comments that reference a packet she submitted on July 22nd special meeting, as did Joey Kuhn, property owner. The building sitting at 326 Comanche Street housed the old community banks of Colorado, which left Kiowa in 2022. And was consequently bought in 2023, has sat empty and unable to be leased out or brought into business for 2.5 years. That was the comment. In response, the prospective leasee of the building submitted a special use review application in June 2024, proposing to establish a daycare center that would have included 5 classrooms and 2 outdoor playgrounds. The applicant asserted that the center would cater to a clientele of 54 families, which, if each family to enroll only 1 child, would likely surpass the occupancy levels established for a gross floor area of 2,500 square feet. Furthermore, the current zoning regulations of the town do not permit this type of use within the town center. However, it may be permitted in other areas of town through either rezoning or special review. It is important to note that this application did not progress to the town board for further evaluation in accordance with the procedures set forth in the town's municipal code. The same property owner of the building submitted an application in July of 2024 for a proposed conversion into a boutique hotel. This application received approval from the Planning Commission on July 17th, 2024, and was scheduled for discussion at the town board's monthly meeting in August. However, the property owner subsequently rescinded the application. The property owner explained that the cost associated with the installation of the required fire suppression system significantly exceeded their financial plans for this project. On June 30th, 2025, the property owner submitted an application for the remodeling of this property to accommodate a proposed Mexican food restaurant. This application is currently in process through the Planning and Building Department. Second, the packet expressed a comment the dollar store wanted to come to Kiowa, and they approached the administration multiple times with various properties in Kiowa. Did anyone work to help them find a property that would work? The appropriate business in question was Dollar General rather than the dollar store. Town engaged in multiple discussions with representatives from Dollar General regarding 3 specific properties: 811 County Road 134, 434 Comanche Street that is currently occupied by Farmer State Bank, as well as the site of the former gas station adjacent to Coyote Market. However, the town staff, which consists of 2 individuals, ultimately decided against further direct communication with Dollar General. Instead, they opted to refer the representatives to a local licensed and experienced realtor, Debbie Olin, to facilitate these discussions. This approach was deemed more suitable for a realtor than for town staff. The outcomes of these conversations remain uncertain. Debbie Olin and Mona Shantz have both referred to the property located at 811 County Road 134, which is now zoned ag business. having no lighting, no bathrooms, and no landscaping. In accordance with staff report submitted on behalf of the town's third-party contracted building department, Safe Built, the following observations were noted in the report pertaining to the applicant's request for building permit. Town Municipal Code specifies site plan standards, chapter 17, article 2. Landscape regulations 17-15. No formal landscaping is proposed. The site will remain in its natural vegetation state with the exception of structures, roads, and stored area of agricultural products. All areas not occupied by structures, driveways, or agricultural products will remain covered by living material. Lighting standards 17-16. No lighting is proposed for this site. The regulations largely guard against shielding light from adjacent properties. The code does not require site lighting. Screening standards 17-17. No screening is proposed for any of the agricultural materials on site. The landscape regulations of 17-15 indicate that all open industrial or commercial storage areas shall be screened from all public right-of-ways. The code does not mention agricultural products. Drainage and stormwater. Limited land disturbance and impervious surfaces are anticipated with the proposal. Historic stormwater flows and ground percolation of stormwater is anticipated. Architectural rendering 17-13-6. The Conex boxes are proposed at 9 feet 6 inches in height. The architectural panels placed between the boxes will reach a height of approximately 24 feet at their highest point. The town's building department has reviewed these proposed structures for compliance with the International Building Code. The proposed plans and anchoring connections are stamped and sealed by a Colorado Registered Professional Engineer. No restrooms were required at this location due to the specific nature of the agricultural business operations. While operational hours are indicated, all materials are collected by appointment with the business owner. There is no standalone brick and mortar structure that is regularly visited. Additionally, there may be instances where no deliveries or pickups occur for several weeks. It is pertinent to note that although there are established brick and mortar businesses within Kiowa that offer restroom facilities, at least one of these proprietors does not permit public access to their restrooms. At the July 8th, 2025 monthly meeting, Mona Shantz commented on the cars in town that were backed into property owners' yards, as are they being checked for current registration? It is not permissible by law to enter private property to verify the status of a vehicle's registration if the vehicles are parked in yards or driveways, and the rear of the vehicle is not visible from the street. Such actions could constitute trespassing. Conversely, if a vehicle is parked in a manner that allows its registration to be seen from the road and the registration then is evidently expired, enforcement action may be taken and a notice will be issued accordingly. At the same monthly meeting, Joey Kuhn commented that her rights are being violated when the aforementioned daycare request was not approved. However, it is notable to mention that the application was submitted by Ms. Kuhn's proposed tenant at the time and not Ms. Kuhn herself. Addressing her claim that her personal rights are being violated, there are 5 fundamental rights of a U.S. citizen under the Constitution. Number 1, freedom of religion. Number 2, freedom of speech. Number 3, freedom of the press. Number 4, freedom of assembly. Number 5, freedom of petition. None of these involve a municipality setting or enforcing zoning and land use regulations. Number 4, at the July 22nd, 2005 special meeting, Joey Kuhn commented on the extent to which the town is utilizing legal counsel in 2023 through 2025 to date. Ms. Kuhn has inaccurately reported that the town incurred over $64,000 in attorney fees during the year 2023. The actual amount reflected in the final financial report presented at the December 23 monthly meeting was $57,781. Of this total, $22,732 was directly attributed to town business, while $35,050 was specifically associated with issues pertaining to the Kiowa Creek subdivision. It is important to emphasize that these later expenses should have been fully reimbursable from the developer to the town in accordance with a chargeback agreement established in February 2022. However, as the present date, the developer owes the town over $28,000 and a lien has been placed on the relevant property. Furthermore, Ms. Kuhn claimed that the town's legal expenditures in 2024 exceeded $30,000. The accurate figure reported, the most recent financial statement for 2024 presented at the December monthly meeting, was $67,588. This total included $44,848 allocated for general counsel fees, along with an additional $22,740 designated for special counsel retained by the town to address various legal matters involving the aforementioned developer, his personal legal representatives, and open records issues. The legal fees attributed to both general and special counsel were primarily related to the multitude of legal matters encountered by the town throughout the year and should not be solely associated with Ms. Bourne's attendance at the monthly meetings. Lastly, Ms. Kuhn has projected the legal fees for the year 2025 will amount to approximately $35,000. However, the financial report included in this month's packet indicates to date the town has incurred legal fees totaling $15,655. Additionally, it's noteworthy that Ms. Bourne has been absent from at least 3 or 4 meetings thus far, as town staff requested her non-attendance at town planning and board monthly meetings when her presence was deemed unnecessary. Currently, the matters under discussion predominantly involve legal issues, particularly in light of local business owners indicating they may file a class action lawsuit against the town, asserting that their personal rights are being violated. Number 5, at the July 22nd, 2005 special meeting, David Lindauer of Mavericks Broadband commented that the town is in direct violation of open meetings law due to his inability to locate a posted agenda on the town's website prior to the meeting's starting time, as well as inability to locate the minutes from the June 2025 meeting, as well as the meeting minutes from July 2025, the current month, on the website. As previously articulated to Mr. Lindauer during several public meetings, the town is statutorily obligated to designate its official posting location for the current year through a resolution at the first monthly meeting. For the year of 2025, this requirement was fulfilled through Resolution 2, Series 2025, titled "A Resolution Establishing a Designated Public Place for the Posting of Meeting Notices as required by the Colorado Open Meetings Law," which was adopted at the monthly meeting of the Board of Trustees on January 14th, 2025. This resolution establishes, as it has in previous years, that the notification board at the front of the Kiowa Town Hall shall constitute the designated place for the posting of meeting notices as mandated by the Colorado Open Meetings Law. The town clerk shall be responsible for posting the required notices no later than 24 hours prior to the scheduled meeting. All meeting notices shall, where feasible, enclose specific agenda information. Additionally, I wish to clarify that the minutes for meetings are readily accessible on the town's website. The town has contracted with Civic Plus to develop a more user-friendly interface for assessing agendas and meeting packets. This new portal can be accessed via a button located on the homepage under the section entitled Agendas and Minutes, specifically for documents dated June 2025 and thereafter. Documents dated prior to June 2025 will continue to be available in their original location on the website. Furthermore, I would like to reiterate, as previously communicated to Mr. Lindauer by myself and the trustees in earlier meetings, the minutes for the current month shall not be published on the website until they have been formally approved through a motion and a vote by the board at the next monthly meeting, which at the time of this public comment would be the meeting scheduled for August. It is important to note there have been no violations of state or federal law, contrary to Mr. Lindauer's claims. This memorandum is advisory only and no additional action is required by the Board of Trustees. Thank you. And that's the end of my report. I have nothing for Public Works, and you should have in your packet the second quarterly report from Code Enforcement that did not make it into your packet into line.
Okay. Consent items. Approval, minutes, July 8th, 2025. Monthly meeting minutes and July 22nd, 2025 special meeting minutes.
So as previously mentioned, I'm not listed as being present for the July 22nd meeting.
So I will make that revision.
Right.
And I would request when I send out an email on the Friday before the meeting and I ask for you to review it and let me know prior to the meeting so the documents are complete and accurate. I need you to respond to me by Monday before it goes out in its final form.
And honestly, I just reviewed the packet today and just found it.
I know that, but that's why we send them out the week.
Well, and I didn't notice it because we've got her votes in here. We just don't have her up here at the top.
Okay.
So do I have a motion?
Motion to. Let's.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed?
And that's just for, is that for both of them or one of them?
No, just the 22nd.
But are we approving both of them?
Oh,
Oh, well, yes.
Okay, but we're revisions to the 22nd.
Right, 22nd.
Sorry.
Okay. It's okay.
Okay, next item of business, expenditures for year to date.
Only thing I wanted to bring to your attention was line item 7042, Kinley Warren Consultants. Year to date, we have expended $440,123. We've received in reimbursement on the DOLA grant as it relates to that, $183,698. And in reimbursement from the TAP grant, $144,841 for a total reimbursement toward the amount spent of $328,539. Line item 4222, Town Parks Improvement Donations. Echo raised $160 toward the parks project, and the town donated back $320 as promised. So that's what I have for that. You guys have any questions regarding the expenditures?
Okay. Do we need to motion to approve those, Kim? I'm tired, I
You can
can't
motion to
remember.
accept them.
Well, that's what I mean, accept.
Yeah.
All right. Do I have a motion to accept the expenditures?
So I make the motion to accept these expenditures.
Have a second?
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We don't have any old business.
The last item on the agenda. Under discussion.
Yeah,
and
discussion.
Communication,
Motion.
included in your packet is a letter of resignation from Town Attorney Ruth Bourne. Dear Honorable Mayor and Board of Trustees, after careful thought and consideration, please accept this letter as my formal resignation as the Town Attorney for Kiowa. We have overcome some significant hurdles over the past few years and grateful for all that everyone does to support your community. I have gained invaluable experience and expertise that we accomplished together. Please know I'm available to assist in any issues that may arise, assist in a transition for a new attorney, or provide documentation regarding the same. Thank you for all of support at this time. Ruth Bourne. I would need a motion to accept her resignation.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay,
A RFP for replacement general counsel went out last Monday. The date of deadline for submittal is August 28th. The last day for questions is August 22nd. The first week of September, we are leaving open for any potential interviews you all want to hold pertaining to those submittals, with the hope of accepting one by the September meeting. So that's where we're at with that.
Okay.
I just would like to thank everybody for the opportunity to serve Kiowa, and I've really appreciated working with all of you and here to help whoever the new hire is and provide any documentation you may need. And I did notice today that the job is not posted on CML, and that is free to you and a good website to use to advertise for potential candidates.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed?
All right, 9:50.